Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again. Welcome in on a Wednesday, middle of the work week. How are we doing today? Everything fine in your world? If not, don't you worry. Get up, do it all over again tomorrow. Maybe it'll be better tomorrow. We are broadcasting live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Charlie Usen over there, other side of the glass. Thanks for tuning in around the beautiful state of Wisconsin. WNFL 99.7 FM, the Flamethrower. 93.9 The Game in Wausau. 710 The Game in Duluth, Superior. Or in Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM. The Fan. Appreciate y'all for being a part of it. I want to jump into a bunch of different stuff today. We're going to talk some Bucks today. We're going to talk some Brewers today. We're going to talk some Packers today. We got Charlie Sounds of the day. We'll get caught up with the Admirals like we do every Wednesday at around 4:45. And then tonight, 5 to 7 o'clock, the debut of Hot Stove Weekly with the franchise, Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz talking Brewers baseball every Wednesday night, now 5 to 7, all the way up until first pitch for the Brewers season. So their last show will be March 25th. But it's going to be fun every Wednesday night talking some Brewers baseball, especially when it's cold and crappy and like it is in the wintertime. Start thinking about the Brewers. Always a good thing. We're going to start with the Bucks. And then we'll get into the Packers. And then we're going to get into something that's kind of not really related to anything. But we'll tell you what that is in the third segment. So last night, y'all got to help me understand something because I am struggling to understand Bucks fans. Just a little bit, okay? So for, 15 years, whatever it was, I used to do post-game shows in Milwaukee after Bucks games. Our station in Milwaukee never had the Bucks, but I would, at one point, for a majority of that run, was the only person doing post-game shows outside of like the network recap that was like 15 or 20 minutes. And other than that, I was pretty much the only one. So for years, so the 15-win season, I was on the air, all that fun stuff. And in those days, I had to watch the whole damn Bucks game because I had to wait for it to get done in order to go on the radio. I'm not doing those shows anymore. So I don't have to watch the whole Bucks game. Explain something to me before we get to our topic. We're going to talk about Doc Rivers, but why would you sit through that entire embarrassment last night and watch the whole thing? Like, why? I don't understand. Like, if they're not going to play and they're not going to give full maximum effort, or as Doc said, dead legs or whatever it was, if that's the case, toodles to you. Charlie, back in the day, in games like that last night, I would come on the air and I'd be like, you know what? If they don't care, neither do I. Let's talk about the Brewers tonight. Post game after the Bucks, and we would talk Brewers for 2 hours, or we would talk Packers, whatever. But I was like, if they don't care, why am I going to care about you? I'm not going to talk about that. There's nothing to talk about. Y'all didn't care, so I'm not going to care about talking about you. We talk about something else. Bucks fans love that because they were sick and tired of watching them lose too. I don't understand. Like, you're not going to be struck by lightning as a Bucks fan if you turn the game off in the third quarter and go, this one's done. I'm not going to stress over watching this. And I see some of y'all on social media, like, turning gray in the fourth quarter, yelling and screaming and carrying on about Doc. It's like, guys, like, turn it off and turn on a movie or find something to look at on your phone or read a book. How about that? Read a damn book instead and just... Right?
Is Sparky telling you that?
This isn't a playoff game, right? This isn't to win a title and they blew it in game 5 or game 7. Like, that's not what this is. It's a meaningless damn basketball game in January. Now, does it mean more for the Bucks because they're trying to get to the top 6? Sure. It does mean more for the Bucks right now. But in that instance last night, there was no reason any of you should have watched that entire game last night. Any of you at all, unless maybe you have some prize picks. You need more or less on a certain player in the game. Okay, fine. Even in that situation, I'd have just checked the box score at the end. I was not watching that entire game last night. And for all of you that did, Godspeed, man, because you're braver than I am. That was absolutely disgusting, Charlie.
It's not like the Bucks even have like fun players, fun young players. Minnesota has Bones Highland, who I know everybody loves for some reason. So every time he gets minutes, people love to talk about him and watch him or something.
They did not have Anthony Edwards.
They didn't have or Rudy Gobert. They didn't have anybody. This was not a fun game to watch in the first place. Whether or not the score ended the way it did, you shouldn't have wanted to really be paying that close attention to this one anyways. It was a game where it should have gone better than this. And the fact that it already went this bad, again, like you said, just turn it off. I mean, they don't have anybody fun, any young players. It's not like you were sitting there waiting to watch Pete Nance come into this game or Jericho Sims to get his 4 minutes. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I guess, but you could watch that highlight when they post a random Thanasis highlight today, because that's what they do every time he plays. You'll find it somewhere. I mean, it just felt sad. This game just felt depressing for a majority of it.
And we're going to get into the Giannis and fans booing the Bucks. Giannis booing back. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. I don't want to start with that. I want to start with Doc. Doc Rivers, after the game last night.
Just beat us off the dribble all night, you know. I honestly thought we were playing with dead legs, you know. I knew this was going to be a difficult game. Coming back from a road trip, having one game and then leaving again tomorrow. You know, we looked at the schedule before. This is the 2 games we tried to change. We got one of them changed. You know, our original schedule was we were playing tomorrow in San Antonio. They at least spaced that for us because they saw that it was tough. But, you know, no excuses. We just didn't have it. We were flat. I thought our guys tried at the beginning of the third quarter to fight back a little bit. But when you dig yourself that big of a hole, every basket, every turnover, anything hurts. So I actually probably should have pulled the plug earlier because I just thought we were flat. I didn't think we had anything tonight.
Before we get to the topic, this happens to NBA teams, man. It does. It's happened every year I've watched NBA basketball. Sometimes the team just comes out, it's got nothing to give. They're on empty, right? And you're going to get nothing. And then your bench guys that normally don't play, they come out, they give you some energy, they give you some effort because their legs are fine because they don't play. You get more effort from them than you get from your starters. People are yelling and screaming about Doc. Oh, this is on Doc. And physically, there will be games like this throughout the year. And I know Giannis poo-pooing the dead legs after, I know. But again, he's different than most of these other cats, right? He just is. Most teams are going to have this. Oklahoma City, even though they're younger, they're going to have a game where they're just going to be flat. And there's going to be nothing there. And everyone's going to be like, how the hell did they lose that game? And there's just not anything there. Like it is a thing. And in those games, if you can still win those games when you're that dead and do it consistently throughout the season, then you're a championship level team. Well, this is not a championship level team. I don't think anybody is going to argue with that at this point based on how they're playing. The question I put out last night on X, as you all were melting down, if y'all get your wish and the Bucks fire Doc Rivers, right? Y'all get your wish. They fire Doc. Y'all didn't get your wish on Matt LaFleur, doesn't appear. So they fire Doc, and now Bucks fans are happy. Tell me this. What happens next? Who's next head coach? And why all of a sudden will they become better? That's the one I really want to know. So if they fire Doc, what happens next? Who's next head coach? And why are they better with said next head coach? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. I am not an anti-Doc Rivers guy. I am a person that enjoys Doc's post-game pressers and him explaining things and so forth. I understand there is inflated perceptions of certain players on this basketball team that some of you think are way better than they actually are. That's part of being a fan. I get that too. When I put that tweet out last night, I got a ton of reaction to it. And maybe I'll read some of the tweets that I got back, and we'll read wherever we get here as well. And again, would love to hear from you. Streaming live on X and on YouTube at WI Sports Radio, as well as right there in that Dugout YouTube chat, which is already taking off, as you could well imagine when we talk about Doc Rivers potentially getting fired here. And there was a couple of people that responded to me on X and said, hey, man, with all due respect to Doc, he may not be the greatest coach in the whole wide world, but he doesn't exactly have the horses to try and get this thing done right now. He doesn't have the talent to play at the level that everybody is expecting this team to play at right now. And to that, I would say, yeah, you're probably right. When the season started, I picked him to come out of the East. Sure did. And the only reason I did was because of the blind loyalty, I guess, maybe, to their idea and concept of why this was going to work, which was we're going to shoot a bunch more threes. We're going to make them at the same clip we were making them before, which means our scoring is going to go up each and every game. That will make up without having Damian Lillard's points. And that's how we're going to win. We're going to outscore people. The one thing that I never really heard of during all of this was rebounding. How are we going to fix that? Is there enough? And again, I would say most of us fell into the trap of Miles Turner was going to do something good. We were wrong. Should have listened to the Pacers fans. He's exactly who they said he was, right? Hit and miss. Sometimes he shows up. Other times he just does cardio, running back and forth on the floor. Okay. So if he ain't going to be a double-double machine, which clearly he's not, Portis can be. But then what is the next words out of your mouth when I say Bobby Portis? Yeah, but he can't defend anybody, Sparky.
And sometimes he's not a double-double machine. He's just chucking up shots. So.
Sure. Okay, from a point, but rebounding, he's going to rebound.
Yeah.
He's always going to rebound. Rebounding to me is effort, right? That's effort. Either you want to go get the ball or you don't. One way or the other. He gives you effort. So Portis gives you that. Portis gives you scoring off of the bench. Most nights, he's going to, like I said, double-double. Then we talk about A.J. Green, who, when they signed A.J. Green, I said, well, that's the Pat Connaughton money, right? There you go. $9 million a year. I thought the Connaughton money was stupid when they gave it to him. Years later, $9 million isn't as bad maybe as it was when Connaughton originally signed his deal. So I didn't make a big deal of it one way or the other, but I've been saying consistently that dude is not as good as y'all make him out to be. Pretty much been on the money on that one. Ryan Rollins. Hey, man, I'm not saying he can't be a good role player in this league. I think he could be. Could be a good backup guard. Maybe a starting point guard if you've got 3 scorers around him or something like that. Maybe he can do that. Offensively, he tries. So that's nice. But he ain't no 1. I don't even know if he's a 2 on another team at this point. I thought he was, but even he is inconsistent. And then Kevin Porter Jr., which, if we're being honest, is probably the most talented dude on this team next to Giannis. From a just legitimate, God-given talent basketball player, he's probably 2 on this team. But with that being said, he also doesn't shoot at a high clip on a given night-to-night basis. He also is a guy that can be super streaky. One night he can look like a star, and then the next night he's like, whoops, everything went away. The reason Damian Lillard makes a lot of money and has made a lot of money because he plays at a high level night in and night out throughout his career. I know y'all can argue what he did here. I'm just saying that's why he makes the money. Giannis makes the money because he plays at a high level every night, no matter what. You get the same thing, okay? There isn't a guy with Giannis that can play at that level. I said that was an issue when the season began, and it's clearly an issue now. You can have all the conversations you want about Doc should play this guy. They should be running this scheme. They should be doing that. They should be doing this. Fine. You may be right on all of it. But let's say you're right. if they change scheme, if they change rotations, if they play minutes played by different guys, they change all of that. What are they? What are they? They do everything you want them to do. They're going to win a championship. They ain't even going to get to the conference championship game. The question is about Doc. But I wanted to lay that all out there for you. And then, after you heard what I had to say, you can come flying back at me about why you want Doc Rivers fired. The question is this. You fire Doc, you get your wish. What happens next? Who's the next head coach? And why are they better? Simple. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. On the socials at WI Sports Radio, Dugout Chat is up and going. We got our Nicolay Law Talking text line as well. Room for you on the phones if you want to dial in and go back and forth with me. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Charlie Usem. I'm wearing my Brewers jacket today. Been wearing it the last couple of days. I just want a pitcher's catch report, man. Can we just get going? I'm ready. Packers are done. Okay, fine. Playoffs are going to continue on. Don't really care about those. Bucks suck. College basketball, maybe Wisconsin. Blackwell with a big shot last night to beat Minnesota. Always good to beat Minnesota. But there's just not a lot there. Like Marquette ain't going anywhere. Milwaukee and Green Bay, one of those two, maybe they make the tournament. Maybe if they win the Horizon League tournament, who knows? Anything's possible when you get to a tournament play. That would be cool if one of those two teams got into the NCAA tournament. And Wisconsin, I don't know. We'll see. Talk to me in 2 weeks on the Badgers basketball program. So really, all your hopes and dreams rely right now on getting to the Brewers for multiple reasons. One, that means it's going to be getting warmer outside. Two, days are going to be getting longer, more sunlight longer when we have sunlight. So that also would be good. And three, I get to watch this Brewers team, which is fun and exciting and awesome. And then, you get the leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz back an hour before every game. You get the post-game show now, Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz after every game. It's going to be an awesome baseball season. I cannot wait. Okay, so in that last segment, we said if the Bucks fire Doc Rivers, what happens next? Who is the next head coach and why are they better? And before I said that, I was talking about the idea of why anybody would watch that entire game last night. It just does not make any sense. I mean, if you work there, fine. Other than that, I don't really understand why we would do that. Carrie from Toasta says, watch the whole game because that's just how I am. I never give up on the teams. I need to learn to turn it off like you said, Sparky. Does it make you a bad fan? I mean, okay, if the Packers are down 17 points the fourth quarter, that's not done, right? You've seen teams come back from that. For sure, you've seen that. But I'm sorry, any breathing human being last night watching that Bucks game would have told you it's over. They are not coming back. This is a wrap. It's just not happening. And again, I'm not ripping on people. I'm just saying, you're adding gray hair to your head, if you have any, in order to try and get that done. All right, so got a lot of text messages coming in here. Open for you as well as the phone lines. Nicolay Lataka text line 414-677-1250. The 608 Doc was a who are you going to go get hire, and he was worse than who he replaced. This team is under 500, so not sure if it really gets worse if he is replaced from Rhino. Let's rewind a little bit, shall we? So Adrian Griffin was the coach. Adrian Griffin was the coach over Kenny Atkinson and over Nick Nurse, regardless of what Giannis will say publicly, based on everything I've heard, because that was Giannis. That's who Giannis wanted, right? Adrian Griffin played, so forth. Okay. So we bring in Adrian Griffin. Then most of us didn't know how bad it was, but their offense was clicking along nicely. They were scoring points and whatever. Maybe the defense wasn't as great as you wanted it to be, but whatever. Then they get rid of Adrian Griffin. But before they get rid of Adrian Griffin, they hire Doc Rivers to be a consultant. Red flag. And then after he consults while doing his TV job, they go to Doc and be like, hey, man, you're doing such a great work. We agree with all your ideas and what should be done with the Bucks. Why don't you come on board here and we'll move on from Adrian Griffin? So they do. On comes Doc Rivers. But Doc Rivers gets a crappy hand dealt to him because of injuries and so forth that occur after that. Remember, Middleton was the only healthy guy in that series against the Pacers when they got to the playoffs. He never got a full lineup of his guys to play with in the playoffs. The next year, there was no Lillard. Again, never had his own full lineup. Now this year, he's just, not much anything. But having said that, I've said this before, and I will say this again. This whole idea of a rebuild. A rebuild starts when Giannis is not here, okay? While Giannis is here, there will be no rebuild because Giannis will never allow it, even though, honestly, that would be the best way to go at this point, but they're not going to. When Giannis is gone, then that opens up the door for who the next guy is. I pointed this out previously, and I don't think anybody else is really talking about it. Anybody else find it funny that Tom Crean is doing TV all of a sudden for the Bucks? Tom Crean, coached at Marquette, longtime college basketball coach, never really had a crack in the NBA. All of a sudden now is analyzing NBA games, learning the players, learning the other teams around the league, just kind of hanging out, doing this from his house. Anybody else find that interesting? Because, folks, again, I got no inside information. But if I was to put money down in the Potawatomi Sportsbook on who the guy's going to be if they move on from Doc, you might want to start looking over that way and being like, hey, maybe it's going to be Crean that's going to come in here and have the next opportunity. Because if it's a rebuild, what does that mean? It's going to be a bunch of young guys. So it's going to be like coaching a damn college team, and you're not going to have to deal with 12 and 13-year vets unless they're at the end of their career cashing a check. Otherwise, the majority of your guys you're going to play with are going to be young guys that you're going to have to learn how to get to play hard night in and night out. Do I think Crean can do that? I do. I do think he can do that. And again, Crean don't like me. I don't like him. But we're just being honest here about how this whole thing plays out. It makes perfectly good sense why he would be the guy in a rebuild situation. I would not put him with this team right now with Giannis for the next couple of years. Because, first of all, I wouldn't want the job to go try and deal with what they have on the floor right now. And I doubt he would want to go try and deal with what's on the floor. But if you go on full rebuild, there are no expectations on that coach to win. Zero. So now he can learn how to coach at the NBA level with a bunch of young dudes with expectations of 15 wins maybe on a first couple of year basis and then grow with it. And he already has the connections in the community. He already has all of his support around the community, can bring in his own coaches if he wants and go from there. Others that are being mentioned on the Nicolay Law Talking text line, the 414, Rajon Rondo for coach. Sure. Fine. But again, same type of deal. Like, so Rondo takes over for Doc. Now he says, or she, whoever that is on the 414, says Rajon Rondo. A lot of people on my timeline last night on Next were saying Darvin Ham because he has head coaching experience with the Lakers, longtime Buck player, Buck assistant with Bud, all that. So Darvin Ham would work too. But I'm telling you right now, I don't care who the next head coach is for the remainder of this year. They can change schemes. They can do all this other stuff that you want. They're still not making a run to win a ring at the end of the day based on the talent and what it looks like right now. It just doesn't. Like, they have not shown to me to this point that they're capable of getting on a huge run. Giannis comes back. It's like, okay, we're 2-1, we're 3-1, we're 4-1. And then what's happened? All of a sudden, boom, into the wall. And now we're starting to slide back down the other way. So you got a Giannis bump for like 5 games. And now we're back to where we were while Giannis was out. To me, the season's a wrap. I'll just put it where it is. I don't care if Doc's the coach. I don't care if you're the coach. I don't think this team, with what they have, is going to go make some run to the conference championship or go make some run to the NBA championship. Will they be a playoff team? Yes. Because Giannis will drag them kicking and screaming into the playoffs one way or the other. And then it could be one and done. Maybe they win a round and then they get knocked out. But this is not that. And we're adding all this stress to our lives like this should be a championship team, and Doc's messed the whole thing up. Realistically, some of us, like myself, got blinded by our Bucks fandom and thought this roster was different than what it was. And in all actuality, they just don't have enough, man. They just simply do not have enough, Charlie.
They don't. And it is frustrating because it felt like that a lot of these guys, they felt like they fit around Giannis and his play style going into this season. And it just seems like they're really struggling to get that identity going, the identity that we pictured before the season. But I guess the one thing that does kind of puzzle me about Doc Rivers right now is this. We talk about the tired legs and the dead legs that he brought up there and how, that happens sometimes. But when Giannis is, I guess, actively putting out a different message, and he talked about this a couple weeks ago, he's like, we're playing for our lives every single game. I want the mentality to be go out there and every single game feels like a one and done type of situation. And Doc Rivers is then coming out after a game like this and just with a completely different mentality than what it seems like your star player is going at. I can see the clash there. I can see why that would frustrate Giannis, and I can see why that would frustrate me as a former athlete as well. It just feels like the coach's heart isn't in it. But also at the same time, Doc, or the 608 saying Doc was a who are you going to get hired, that's wrong too. They're paying him $10 million. He's the 4th highest paid coach in the NBA right now, tied for it. I mean, that's not a who are you going to get. This guy needs to come in and make a change, make a difference for this team. And it just doesn't feel like he's doing that right now.
No,
he needs more blame in this than just the roster isn't ready.
I listen, like I said, you can blame him whatever you want, but and that's fine. You can be like, oh, they'd be 6 wins better without him. And they're 10 wins better. Okay. And now what? I mean, I understand that you may not remember what it was like to suck, right? You may not remember what it was like at the beginning of Giannis's time here or before Giannis's time. I hate to break it to you all, but we're headed back in that direction again for the foreseeable future. Like, that is where this is going, one way or the other. And we haven't even talked about Giannis booing us when we were booing him last night. We ain't gotten to that yet. We'll do that at 420. We have to start understanding what we have. Like, Eric Name and Ozarski, Bucks beat writers, right? Athletic and Journal Sentinel. Well, welcome back to reality. Y'all have had a nice little ride of covering championship caliber teams, not a lot of drama, just winning and winning and winning and fun and excitement. And now you're going to get to cover the other side of this thing. And the problem that comes with the other side of this thing when you are a Bucks beat writer is when they get so bad for long enough, people are just going to stop reading and checking out that stuff and everything else. And then they are going to be affected by it because not as many people are going to be watching. One year for the Bucks, somebody told me that the cable rating for the Bucks, I think it was Fox Sports Wisconsin that year, was literally 0.0 for Bucks games.
That's insane. How is nobody tuning in? And today's kind of landscape with how much trouble the Brewers have with FanDuel Sports Network all the time. I mean, that could be just death sentence almost.
At one point in Milwaukee, right? That's because that's where I've worked my whole life. Well, not my whole life, but a majority of my career. In Milwaukee at one point, we went in and we tried to get the Bucks to come on our station in Milwaukee. And my boss at the time was like, hey, let's pull some individual games and see what it looks like. And we pulled it. Charlie, I had bigger numbers, significantly bigger numbers than their game broadcast did. At night on the radio, my post-game show numbers killed their game numbers on my post-game show. I would have people messaging me and like, I didn't even hear the game. I just want to hear what Sparky had to say about it. That's the reason I tune in. That's how bad it was. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get back to that point again. Let's hope not. Can't you kind of see the writing on the wall? I mean, you have to start to see where we're at here. We were blessed with an NBA championship with Giannis. We were blessed with many years of success with having Giannis. We were blessed with Giannis. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player of the Year. And we got to witness it all in our lifetime. And if you would have told me prior to that, if I was going to get to see a Bucks championship, I'd have said, no chance. Never going to see a Bucks or Brewers championship in my life. And I got to see a Bucks one. We talked about this yesterday. So that's amazing. But just like at some point, the Packers are going to come down the other side of the hill and they're going to go back into a valley. I'm not saying it's going to be with Jordan Love, but at some point in the next 20, 30 years, more than likely that's going to happen, even though they've had 30 years of high-level success. So maybe it doesn't. But you would think they're going to come back down the other side of the mountain. The Brewers were god-awful for a majority of my life, and now they've put together a string of really good records. All right, let's see here. Where are we going? Let's go to Q, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. What's up, Q?
Sparky, love the topic. I don't really think there's anybody out there outside of the organization that I would want to be coaching this team. Because honestly, I think it is more roster than it is coaching. If they were going to replace Doc Rivers, I'd want to see what Darvin Ham could do, but like he's already there. So what's really the point of doing that change?
Oh, I agree with you. I don't think there'd be much difference. Rondo's intriguing. Rondo's never been a head coach. Maybe Rondo would be able to light a fire under their butts on a more consistent basis to get him to play in a different style. Anybody that knows Rajon Rondo will tell you he's one of the smartest basketball dudes around. I mean, basketball IQ is through the roof. So maybe Rondo would draw up some different stuff than what they're using with Doc or whatever. And Maybe it works with Rondo. Maybe they go out of the box and maybe they go get Becky Hammond. I don't know. Maybe they do something like that to go out of the box. The issue is with a Giannis uncertainty of how long he's going to be here, you're really only talking about the rest of this year, and then providing he doesn't ask for a trade, which according to him, he's not going to, then you have next year and then the player option. So if you make a change now, that person may only be here for a year and a half anyhow. Or you just ride it out with Doc and then completely start over after next year when Giannis probably picks up and goes somewhere else at that point.
Yeah, I like where you're headed with that. We don't really know what's going to happen with Giannis. It does feel like he's going to leave, but it really changes who you hire. And like for as long as Becky Hammond's name has been floated out there, I doubt she would take a job midseason.
It would have to be for next year. Whoever it is, the rest of the year is going to be an interim coach.
Yeah, but I mean, I also think isn't Rajon Rondo? He's on the staff full time too. So even if we made that change, I guess the only reason I would make the change today is if Giannis told them to, which he kind of did last night when he keeps conflicting what Doc is saying, and it's the parallels to Aaron Rodgers and his end in Green Bay are getting stronger by the day.
But and this is on the talking text line. There's a big difference between Green Bay and what's going on here with Giannis. Thanks for the call, Q. This is from Rhino again. Rhino's a busy texter today. He says, people don't realize that we're not staring another Giannis down the barrel the way we were from Favre to Rodgers or from Rodgers to Love. There will not be another Giannis in Milwaukee. The time is now and the window is closing fast. Rhino. Agreed. That's why Mark Lazary got out. It wasn't going to be long-term. And now Peter Fagan is getting out and is not going to be the president. Now, I still don't understand what all happened there and who is in charge of whether he decided to leave on his own or they pushed him out. I don't know. But either way, he's still going to be out of this before anything happens with Giannis potentially leaving Milwaukee, if that ever happens. Maybe he retires here. Who knows? But yes, you do not have a superstar waiting to take over. And that's why when you start talking about, okay, if you trade Giannis, what do you want back? It's got to be a potential superstar that's young. That has to be the guy coming back, right? That's Cam Boozer. That's Cooper Flagg. If whoever it is, it's got to be a potential young superstar player in order for this thing not to completely crater for the next 20 years again or something crazy like that. And then on top of that, you got a guy that knows nothing but losing with an NFL organization trying to run this thing in Jimmy Haslam, which just puts all of us at even a more unease than ever before.
Well, which makes it kind of scary when you talk about some kind of trade like that for a young star, because it's Jimmy Haslam, who you don't know if he's going to go out there and influence some kind of trade like a Deshaun Watson trade, which screws over your franchise for at least 5 years after.
Stefanski wins 2 Coach of the Years, and he just canned him.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie over there. Lewis, north side of Milwaukee. James, south side. You guys are coming up. And we will get to some Packers, some Brewers. Don't worry, we're not going to sit on the Bucks all day. Ken Ingalls, our Packers salary cap analyst. Everybody watches and follows on social media. He's going to join us at 3:20. He did a great piece for Bill Huber at SI. We'll dive into that in the Packers offseason coming up at 3:20. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky with you. Charlie using other side of the glass. You can fire Doc Rivers. What happens next? Who's the next head coach? Why are they better? Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. Brian from New Berlin. Would trading for Ja Morant classify as a possible equal to Deshaun Watson? LOL. No, I don't think so. I understand you're bringing up character in all of this, and injury obviously as well. I think I would still trust Ja Morant every day of the week over Deshaun Watson on my basketball team, though.
At least he's sometimes on the court. Deshaun Watson hasn't seen a football field for 3 seasons.
And when he is, he makes a difference, right? I mean, yeah. And no, I don't want to trade for Ja Morant if that's the next question. 414, why not just let Giannis coach a team? He already runs the front office.
A little Tree Rollins player coach action there.
Yeah, fine.
There you go. I'd like that.
Fine, sure. Whatever he wants. Lewis, north side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Lewis?
What's up? I don't know which direction you go with that coaching staff. It's definitely not Darvin Ham. I don't think he's NBA coach material. I just don't think the guy is very smart. Rajon Rondo, there's a reason why he's not on the bench every game. It's because he has a couple teenage sons that he wants to see play basketball. So he's not interested in being a head coach right now. But this is what I got to say, Spark. You talk like, okay, the best thing for the Bucks to do is rebuild. Am I hearing you correct?
I'm saying people keep talking about this rebuild like it's happening right now. There is no official rebuild until Giannis is off this roster. That's what I'm saying. Giannis will never allow this to be rebuilt. I mean, you may look at the roster and think they're rebuilding, but that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to win games.
Of course. And if I'm the owner, if I'm Haslam, I'm like, look, we have one of the best players in the world. If you guys cannot figure out a way to put players around him that this team can win, then you got to go. And I'm talking about, it's not just the head coach and his staff. You're talking about advanced scouting, the statistics, all of that should go into being competitive. And that's all Giannis wants. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you got the best player, like the way these basketball players think, the top, 20, 30 players, they feel, okay, me plus 4 guys can get it done. That's how all the top players think. And Giannis is no different. And if you can't put a competent basketball staff around that and for however long he wants to be here, because, Haslam looks, they have a multi-million-dollar addition they did over there at the Pfizer Forum. They still got to pay for, right? Mm-hmm. That big behind-the-scenes, dinner club. He's like, look, man, I got, 30, 40 million, and I need to recoup that somehow. And I'm not going to recoup that if Giannis is playing in New York or L.A. or somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? The man said he wants to stay here, make him happy.
Yeah,
how was that hard?
He definitely was not happy last night. But that's the thing, though. John Horst just tried to make him happy. He got him Damian Lillard. Then he got rid of Damian Lillard because he wasn't going to play this year, and Giannis didn't want to lose for a year. So fine, we'll go get you Miles Turner to replace Brook Lopez. Like, I mean, to me, John Horst is
with that?
Nothing. But I'm just saying, John Horst has done everything in his power to try and make him happy. And yet all of this stuff just continues on, all the noise circulating around Giannis. Now, Giannis, thankfully, last week squashed everything with Sam Amick, which was amazing. Thanks for the call. Was very, very happy with that. So, I don't know. We'll see what this looks like. But last night, him booing Bucks fans after Bucks fans were booing the team, not him, personally, but the team itself. And his comments after the game, like, I don't know, man. Like, things are not well. James, Southside, you are next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, James?
Oh, Sparky, you haven't hit on the right thing here.
All right.
Okay, you just had the president of the Bucks,
Peter Fagan,
down after almost a decade plus.
Yep.
What's going on? You got this whole internal type of thing here with the coach, Giannis, and everything else on his team. Is there more behind this whole thing?
James,
this franchise didn't meet the eye for all of us here.
Well, that's it, James.
Something that's being hit.
Right, but James, this is the thing. So, number one, you replace Peter Fagan with one of Jimmy Haslam's guys. Yeah, I know. He's a Bucks fan. Him and his wife are from Wisconsin. Whatever. but it's still one of Jimmy Haslam's handpicked guys. That now he moves up there. He's like 41, 42, whatever he is. He moves him up there. Out goes Peter Feigin. So either this is Jimmy Haslam now is going to start to clean house and replace him with all of his guys going forward. And if we're doing this, thanks for the call, James. Charlie, doesn't it give you a little hesitation of, hey, man, is Edens rolling out of here? Because Feigin is Edens' guy. So how is Wes Edens standing over the side and go, okay, man, yeah, you go get your guy, man. I'm with you. Has anybody asked Edens if he's trying to sell his portion of this team? Because I'm kind of curious now. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, like maybe he's trying to get out next, and this is going to be all Jimmy's.
Could be Jimmy cutting off all the appendages of Eden, just breaking him down until he's nothing but the head. But
listen,
gets him to leave.
He's a governor like Edens, which means every 5 years power changes. But still, he can't, I don't believe he can fire Eden. I don't know if he fired him, but Feigin can't be pushed out unless Edens is on board. At least that's my understanding, right? If they're split. So I don't, again, but
if he gets bullied a little bit into that decision and to agreeing with it,
we'll find out. Either way, I'm not happy about it. Thomas in La Crosse, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Thomas, what's going on, buddy? We need to get the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network into La Crosse.
We do. And by the way, Sparky, I'm very late to mention this, but I very much appreciate the follow on Twitter.
You betcha.
It really does mean a lot to me, and as somebody looking to get into the sports talk, radio, sports media landscape, you are definitely somebody I look up to. In addition to many others, obviously I don't have even the time to.
Are you going to school in La Crosse, or what's your deal?
I do go to school at University of Wisconsin La Crosse.
My 18-year-old kid goes there too.
You're kidding? What's his name?
I'm not saying it on the air, but But he does go there. I don't know if he's going there past spring semester. He's talking about going to Milwaukee after this because all his friends.
What major is he, Sparky?
Business, finance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably have not really come into contact because I'm more sport management route. Nice. I used to have like sports broadcasting, but it kind of dissolved. So, but
so what do you got on the Bucks?
Well, honestly, all of our Wisconsin teams are not doing too hot right now. The Badgers, though, I mean, there's some promise, but like the Bucks, man, not only that, but like all this talk about Giannis leaving really has fried my pickles, so to speak. It's like, why don't we build around him? Can we just go find some free agent?
They got no. The issue is they got no money to go
the cap.
Yeah, they got no money because of the cap. Thanks for the call and the luxury tax, which they're already into anyways. It fried his pickle.
I like that. That's a good one.
Fried his pickle. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily this hour, served up by Wendy's. Coming up in the next hour, we move to the Brewers.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Yeehaw! Welcome in, 3 o'clock hour. Have you had your pickle fried today? See Sparky Pfeiffer with you, Charlie using over there. That's a joke, and you would only get it if you heard Thomas from La Crosse on before the last break, who said the Bucks fried his pickle, is what he said.
This guy has the same name as me?
Yes.
Oh, man.
And goes by Thomas like you do outside of here.
I know, right?
That wasn't weird. You calling in, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, I would have a better fake name than my
Thomas,
real name.
Yeah, Thomas La Crosse.
Although if I called in with Thomas, you guys would probably be like, who the hell is this guy?
You have no idea,
time.
right?
Yeah.
Totally wouldn't even think if it was you. So fried his pickle, the Bucks did. We were talking about the whole break. No idea. But either way, it's cool. It's a new phrase.
Is that a positive or a negative?
That's what I said.
Like he meant it in a negative.
Because like fried pickles are good.
Fried pickles are better. Right?
I feel like he meant that they got him angry. Like it fried his pickle. Like I got angry over the Bucks not doing more for Giannis. That's how I interpreted it after when he said it. But I literally, if you go back and watch on YouTube or X, I literally raised my head and looked at Charlie when he said it. Like, what did he just say?
Okay, maybe it should be more like they fried my ice cream. Like fried a thing that shouldn't be fried.
Fried ice cream is good now.
That's the thing. I didn't
just
know that was
that's fried ice cream. Fried ice cream is good.
Just milk.
No, it's good. Fried ice cream is good. Charlie, use it over there. Tommy Wirtz, the other voice that you're hearing. I mean, you know what he sounds like. He's on every show. He joins us now because we're giving him more work to do. Hot Stove Weekly, Wednesday nights from 5 to 7, starts tonight with the franchise Tim Allen. And Tommy came in with some guest news for tonight's show.
Yeah, big first show right off the rip for Hot Stove Weekly. Tim Allen going to be in studio, so excited to see that. It's going to be on YouTube. Don't worry, everyone. It'll be there, youtube.com/@WI Sports Radio. 2 guests coming up for sure, confirmed today. Probably could get another one squeezed in here somewhere, but 5:15 today, Quinn Priester going to be on Hot Stove Weekly, as well as 6:30. Caleb Durbin also joining the show. So not just one, 2 Brewers going to be on Hot Stove Weekly this week. Just action-packed for day one.
Are you okay?
Am I okay?
Did you and Tim talk last night for like an hour or so, right?
We did, yes.
So does he understand your obsession with Jake Bowers? Like, how is the Jake Bowers request not in for the first show? That's going to be amazing.
So,
when if they
Tommy won't say a word, he'll be stunned.
Yes, spring training. I want Tommy and Jake Bowers picture. I want Tommy and Jake Bowers picture. It has to happen.
Maybe I'll just bring down like a wedding garb for one of us to wear, and I'll wear whatever one he doesn't want to wear, and we can take a picture. I actually had to tell that to Tim yesterday because Tim's, he's coming at it from this angle of I'm a fan, right? I want to be a fan, and I want to try to get that out of you or whatever, and. You got any of those weird stories like that?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, what do you know about Jake Bowers? Tim. I was like, it's kind of my guy. I go to defend him on anything.
Yeah.
I vouch for him on whatever it is. And I went on this rant of, I'm Jake Bowers' guy, especially maybe not number one in his whole life, but number one on the airwaves in Wisconsin.
For sure, yes.
I am the Jake Bowers guy. Yeah, in the country.
In the country. You can go there.
Yeah. And, he's like, I love that. So I'm assuming Tim's going to really lean into that all this year. And, I got Sparky to turn the corner at the end of the year. By the end of the year, I swear to you, when Bowers did something in September or in the playoffs, everybody listening knew, oh, good for Tommy. He's got to be happy right now.
All anybody thought.
Everybody thought. Bowers hit the big play. Everybody thinks of Tommy Wirtz on the leadoff show.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, oh, Tommy's got to be excited. I literally would text him like, hey, man, good job. Your boy just did good. Whatever.
One of my favorite, I will never forget it moments already in working here is, when we find out Jake Bowers is going to be in the lineup the morning of game 4, I believe it was, and Josh is, the negative Nancy that Josh is, and basically just saying like, great, well, he's going to go 0 for 4 or whatever, strike out 3 times, and then Sparky just walks by. He's like, Jake Bauers would never go 0 for 4 like immediately. Like just to have that, like with, how my young dumb idiot self would just go and say something like that. But by the end of the year, we had Sparky on full turn of Jake Bauers doesn't go 0 for 4 anymore. He does not. He's the only guy who can hit in this whole team.
And it's so true. We had so much fun with the Jake Bauers love obsession that Tommy Word said. So year 2 of that love obsession coming up this year. You know what you should find? We should, between you and Charlie and me, we should find some type of sounder that is played for during starting lineups on the leadoff show when Jake Bauers is in the lineup.
Yeah, just like some sort of going off every time when it's Jake Bauers.
Or some type of like sound of like something like that.
Oh, God.
Right?
Well, no, we're just gonna replay.
I think that's the
Tom.
purpose. I think that's the one we should use. You just did it, Sparky. You got it. Yeah.
We'll record it and go.
We'll have to just replay Thomas being like, that really fries my pickle every time. Every time Jake Bauers is in the line.
Saying, like, yeah, either way, it's gonna be fun. Ken Ingalls, Packer salary cap analyst, comes up here at 3:20. Funny enough, we're gonna do a Brewers topic right here. So I wanted, since he was coming in, to announce that they had Quinn Priester and Caleb Durbin on Hot Stove Weekly tonight between 5 and 7. Since you're here, considering moves made by other NL Central teams, if the Brewers continue to stand pat with what they have, they don't do anything else, where do you put them in the division right now?
Oh, I think they have to be the favorite right now. I think the Cubs getting Bregman definitely throws a wrinkle into it, but I mean, have you seen what's going on? The Reds are going to run it back with a very similar team on a team that underachieved last year. That was pretty much seen as, a sleeper all throughout the division and the National League. The Pirates, laugh, move on. And the Cardinals, they're paying $59 million to not have Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, and Wilson Contreras all on their baseball team next year. So quite frankly, I know you saw it over at the Potawatomi Sportsbook and other betting odds. 87.5 was the over-under this year, which was 3 wins more than last year already on their prediction. Big things for this Brewers team. They're going to run it back with a team that won 97 games last year and still got some time. There's still some guys out there that maybe they find some pop along the way that really gets you excited.
Earlier today, Pat Murphy, Brewers manager, was on Inside Wisconsin Sports. So if you missed that, go to wisports.com or wisportsradio.com to listen to that. And go back and watch it on YouTube as well. 920 on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, 414-677-1250, says, hey, Tommy, does Jake Bauers have pictures on you and Murphy?
No, Jake Bauer. I wish. No, Jake Bauers he's doing all right, man. He's just good. He's just good at baseball.
I don't know.
You forget what happened the first 2 months of last season. He was the best hitter on the team, not named Rhys Hoskins. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the year, when no one else could get a hit, he was the best hitter on the team. He has over a 1,000 career OPS in the postseason. 1,000 in his 2 seasons in Milwaukee. Argue against that. That's MVP level numbers.
And he's a great pitcher.
Yeah, he's pitched pretty well.
Pitched? Is that what you just
pitched,
said?
Yeah, he's pitched pretty well. Charlie said he's a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah, he is a good pitcher
Comes
as
in as a
well. Yeah,
relief
he's
pitcher.
actually got a lower career ERA than Nestor Cortez does for the Milwaukee Brewers as well. Remember that.
All right, we're done. Okay, asking you, consider moves made by the other NL Central teams. If the Brewers continue to stand pat, where would you rank them in the division right now? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, 920 again, different phone number. Brewers will finish in second place. I would assume you have them behind the Chicago Cubs at this point. And the Cubs, there was a great piece, I wish I could remember where it was, that went down every player that the Cubs got and who they would be replacing from last year's current roster, right? And they used I think they used the WAR, win above replacement or whatever. It really didn't equal out to one way or the other all that much. It was pretty even by the time. Some pitchers went backwards. Bregman obviously was an upgrade to a degree, but then what happens with Matt Shaw? And where does Matt Shaw go now? And then it appears Suzuki's going to be the everyday outfielder now because of the moves that they've made. So there are some questions there still, but it doesn't appear that there was a gigantic upgrade overall with the additions they made this offseason, even though I would have loved to have Bregman's bat in the middle of this lineup for the Milwaukee Brewers. What say you, Charlie Usen?
I mean, health is going to be a huge thing for the Chicago Cubs. Adding in Edward Cabrera into that starting rotation and then getting a Justin Steele back, hopefully, for a whole season. A Javier Assad back, hopefully, back for a whole season. You already have Shota Imanaga. I mean, you got Cade Horton as well in that rotation. You have a really good starting 5 now as long as everybody can stay healthy. You can say the same thing about Seiya Suzuki in the outfield. That should worry Cubs fans a little bit. He's a guy who hasn't stayed healthy in the past few years, and him playing all 162 is definitely a fever dream for Cubs fans at this point. I think this is something that you have to be a little worried about there, but having Matt Shaw and Nico Horner being taken out of this lineup isn't all a bad thing. That says you got a lot of depth, and you can move one of those guys at a peak right now for both of them, especially Nico Horner. Seems like a lot of teams are interested in him. I could see that being a team that could definitely give the Brewers a run for the money. At the same time, the Brewers have the same kind of wealth right on that fringe of that AAA to MLB level. Guys like Andrew Fisher, who Baseball America called one of the top third basemen in the country.
Top third base prospect in the country. The top
That's
third base
pretty
prospect.
cool. That's a guy that I was saying out of college could probably help pretty soon right away, and he might have to help right away here for the Milwaukee Brewers. I trust in their farm system because we've seen what they can do when they get to the major league levels now. Almost nobody has failed. It's been pretty awesome. I can't see the Brewers losing that first place division because they just haven't lost really anything.
And you get Woodruff back. And again, the question was standing pat, meaning Freddie Peralta is here. Jesse Rogers did a thing on ESPN. Now, Jesse Rogers, Chicago-based dude, very nice guy. I love Jesse Rogers. But so he wrote this whole piece on the NL Central, and he put down like urgency levels for each team in the division. And the Cubs' urgency level is 1 because from his standpoint, they're done. Like this is what the roster is probably unless they move Nico Horner. From the Brewers' perspective, he put down 3 because there tends to be a belief, whether it's founded or not, I don't know, but that they're going to move Freddie Peralta at some point. That tends to be somewhat of a belief that they think that there's a good chance because they're going to be overwhelmed at some point from somebody that's going to give them too good of prospect package that they're not going to be able to say no to, and they'll probably lose Freddie Peralta. One of those teams could be the Mets, who have 3 stud pitching prospects. They're not going to get their first one, but they may get their second or third one, which would be pretty good for the Brewers because whoever that is could go right into the rotation and be a part of this rotation with the great pitching coach and Chris Hook helping them. And then all of a sudden you have somebody under years of control to go along with the flamethrower Mizorowski that you have already. You have Chad Patrick. You have Logan Henderson. I mean, to have so many arms already and to add another young stud into that rotation would obviously help. I look at this thing, and I tend to agree with Charlie that if I was a betting man, I would bet Joey Ortiz's numbers are better coming up this year than they were last year. The only reason I believe this, I have one main reason. Because Pat Murphy was all over you just wait on Bryce Terang's offense. You just wait. You'll see. And he went and he said it. After this year on Joey Ortiz, he was preaching Joey Ortiz like he was preaching Bryce Terang prior to during spring training this year. I'm telling you, I tend to look at that and go, hey, man, if he's that hot to trot for Joey Ortiz and he thinks there's going to be that type of go out of Joey Ortiz, I mean, think about it. If Joey Ortiz hits 260 with 20 home runs, that's a huge deal for the Milwaukee Brewers in that lineup.
Oh, definitely. But also with Bryce Terang, it's a lot easier to sit there and want to take that chance with a player like that because defensively he was as good as he was and he was stealing bases as much as he was. And I think that lends to it. Last year we saw Joey Ortiz regress defensively a little bit too. He was not nearly as good as he was as that first year.
His metrics did not match up.
It did not match up. He's not really that much of a threat on the base path like everybody in the Brewers. He's a little bit. He'll be able to steal a base or two, but you're not really looking to him to steal 20 bases a season either. I mean, now you're solely relying on hoping that his bat can come back. There's nothing else that's saying that's true like Bryce Terang was.
I want to just call up quickly here, Joey Ortiz's stats. We're popping in the 920 area code right now. Nikolay Latok and text line asking you about the Brewers. The Brewers continue to stand pat. Where do they rank in this division considering what everybody else has added? Pirates have added a bunch this offseason. Nikolay Latok and text line 414-677-1250. 920 Brewers running back finished close to first place, but Jake Bauers gets traded and doesn't finish the season with the Brewers.
I think Tommy would quit. I think he'd be done. I don't think he'd be a Brewers fan anymore.
I think he would be out on leave for a couple of days.
It'd be understandable.
It would be like, hey, Tim Allen, buddy, we're going to have to get something with you for postgame for a couple of days because Tommy is not doing well at that point. Inconsolable, right. Joey Ortiz, so if you go back to 2024, that's his first year with the Brewers, 142 games, hit 239, 329 on base, 398 slugging, 11 stolen bases, and 11 home runs. Last year, he had 7 more games played 5 less at bats, though. 230 batting average. That went down. 276 on base. That went down by 50. Slugging from 398 to 317. That went down by like 70. And his power numbers dropped by 4. Stolen bases actually went up to 14. I'm telling you, I think he's going to hit around 260, and he's going to hit somewhere in the area of 15 to 20 home runs and steal 20 bags. That's what I'm going to say. And if he does that, because if you hit 260, that on-base percentage is going to go up to like 330, 340, something like that. And then that slugging percentage should go up over 400 at that point.
I mean, it's just so much easier, again, to believe with Bryce Terrain that you look at his stats from his rookie season to his sophomore season. His batting average goes up 40 points. His on-base percentage goes up 30 points. His slugging goes up almost 50 points.
That's crazy.
That's not regression like we're seeing with Joey Ortiz. That's a lot easier to believe in what Pat Murphy is saying. It's just so hard to believe that that's going to be the case with Joey Ortiz right now.
All right. We'll revisit this and we'll see where we're at.
He might be Andrew Monasterio.
By the end, do not do that to him. Why don't you like Joey Ortiz? Joey Ortiz was on this show talking about honor flight on Veterans Day. Do you not remember that?
That's a good thing. I'm just saying, baseball-wise, not the biggest fan of him right now. Doesn't mean I can't like him as a person.
Hey, when the Admirals score 4, they scored 5 last night. You win at Wendy's. After every game, which the Admirals score 4 or more, stop by any participating Wisconsin Wendy's for a free small vanilla or chocolate frosty classic. No purchase necessary. This offer is only good for 24 hours after the Admirals score 4. So act fast and get that free small frosty classic at Wendy's. Go today. Ken Ingalls, Packers salary cap analyst, there on next that we all watch and follow and ask questions to. He joins us straight ahead. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Steve Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie Usen over there, other side of the glass. How y'all doing here on a Wednesday? Few days removed from the Packers season ending. Not the way that we wanted it to end at the end of the day. That is for darn sure. Joining us now, the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He is Ken Ingalls, Packers salary cap analyst there on X for everybody to check out and watch. Bill Ubra SI featured a great piece on the Packers offseason coming up and so forth. Follow him on X at Ken Ingalls. Ken, thanks for coming on, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sparky. How are you doing?
We're doing all right. We're hanging in there, doing our thing today. Okay, so first things first, lots to get to here, the Packers offseason. I think the first thing we want to go over is essential cap casualties that would make sense for the Packers to move on to where the replacement is either in-house already or would be able to be replaced through the draft kind of at this point. Now, it would make sense to me, at least, that Elton Jenkins would be one, because I believe the savings on that one is like $20 million at the end of the day, Ken. And Ryan might be that guy, at least for the next couple of years, if need be.
Right. Yeah, $20 million is the savings that they would get from moving on from Elton Jenkins. And honestly, as when looking into this season when it started, as soon as he kind of started the season where he was looking to get some more money and the Packers kind of balked at doing that and being interested in an extension in any fashion whatsoever, he was a name that was really easy on for me to circle as, okay, they're probably going to move on from this guy. They're going to go somewhere. But going back to your question about a guy in-house, I don't know if they have that, right? This offensive line is looking at a ton of turnover, right? If you let go of Elton Jenkins, which in my mind is a certainty,
right?
I don't think they're going to bring back Rasheed Walker. And Sean Ryan, while he did okay, he's also a free agent who every single time the Packers have looked for Sean Ryan to step in, they've also kind of had him kind of pushing him out the door as well. Like they've never really wanted this guy to be there. And so will he be receptive to, what they're coming with if they come to him this offseason, or will he feel the love elsewhere? So
I think that's a great point you make on Sean Ryan, because obviously you could see it from the outside looking in. I could see it from the outside looking in. Oh, you're the guard. Oh, no, we don't want you to be the guard anymore. Here's Jordan Morgan, who sucks at it, but we're going to have him play him over you. Oh, look, Elton Jenkins is hurt. Okay, now let's go see if you can play center. And then we have issues with him and Malik Willis and so forth that play out. But he really is that Mueller type of guy on the inside that actually has a little nasty to him, which most of these other guys don't seem to have.
Right. Yeah, he's of all the free agents that the Packers are looking at, like he's the one that I kind of circle would probably make the most sense for them to come back. It's just a matter of whether or not the price is going to be right or not. Like he might go like try and get like a John Runyon type deal, which was, if you remember, $10 million a year. And that's just the going rate for just your kind of run-of-the-mill Mauler interior offensive lineman. Are the Packers going to be able to do that? Or are they going to go with Jacob Monk, who's, guy in-house, who's done okay
right.
when he's had to. He unfortunately went down in that Bears game, and, they were on their third, fourth option by the time they got to, at the end of that Bears game. So it's either going to be that or, hey, we're looking at the draft, or we're going to be maybe trying to find someone a little bit cheaper in the free agent market.
Talking with our guy, Ken Ingalls, salary cap analyst. Follow him there on X at Ken Ingalls. Let's talk a little bit about Rashawn Gary. That's another guy under fire from Packers fans right now. They're like, hey, man, he ain't worth what he's getting paid. He's never had double-digit sacks. He didn't do anything in the second half of the season. But again, as I brought up, who then is the replacement in-house, there doesn't appear to be all that many certain options that will play better than him.
Oh, well, better than him is kind of depending on how you want to look at it, it's pretty objective. Like, yeah, I can't see Rashawn Gary coming back. Like it was pretty disappointing this season. You watch some of these highlights, some of these plays where, he's jogging, he's kind of giving up on the play, and you're watching teammates blast by him. When Micah Parsons was still on the field with him, it was like watching, two complete different opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yep.
Like there's a, I forget what game it was but Parsons is just blowing past Gary while he gave up, and the effort wasn't there. Gary's one of those too. And again, he's wearing the captain's patch this season. So again, very kind of disappointing. Packers stand to gain just shy of $11 million if they move on. Guys in house, I think they're going to point at, Lucas Van Ness, Colin Oliver. He was one of those guys that had limited run in that week 18 game. But Baron Sorrell is probably going to be the guy that they're going to point to. But they have 5 guys right now coming back to be, on that defensive end side. And I think they're going to try and get them as much as they can out of the guys that they have. And if they're going to do anything to kind of improve that defensive front, I think the priority is going to be at defensive tackle. They need to get a true nose tackle next to Devontae Wyatt, some big guy who can stand up against the run a little bit more stout. Losing Kenny Clark this year in the trade to get Parsons in-house, that was a bigger loss than I think a lot of people kind of expected, because nobody in that Packers locker room was expecting Colby Wooden to be the starter nose tackle for 17 games this year.
And he's pretty much undersized compared to what you probably want at that position. Not that he's not effective for how big he is. He definitely is. But as far as legitimately what you want, if you're trying to stop the run better than you have been, you want somebody bigger than him. The other part about this, another guy that I'm going to bring up is Josh Jacobs, right? And you can be like, oh my God, we're not cutting Josh Jacobs. But there is salary cap savings to be had there, I believe, Ken Ingalls. And this is a guy that had knee issues throughout the year.
Yeah, he's the name. If you look at the numbers, it's $8.3 million if they move on from him. The thing that I look at is he's only making, I believe, $11.5 million this year. It's not quite the same as like Aaron Jones, if you remember from 3 seasons ago. Packers approached Aaron Jones in 2023 with a $5 million pay cut. He was set to make $16 million. He was like one of the top paid running backs in terms of cash in the league at that time. They had him take a $5 million pay cut down to $11 million. Well, Jacobs, he's making 11.5, now. So like Aaron Jones had to get pay cut down to where basically what Jacobs is making now. So I don't think like what he's making in terms of cash or what he's doing on the cap is really a hindrance for this team, given what he can do and perform on the, when he's on the field, when he's healthy. It's all going to come down to, what do they think his knee is, if it's going to hold up, if it's going to be something that lingers. Also, they don't really have an answer at running back outside of Jacobs. The only other guy that's really on this roster is Marshawn Lloyd, who, if you remember, he's been unavailable 35 of the past 36 games in Green Bay.
We don't talk. He's not allowed to be talked about on this show. We don't talk. We don't bring him up by name. We just don't talk about him until he actually plays a couple of full games. I'm not even bringing him up as being on this team. Having said that, Ken Ingalls, our Packers salary cap analyst, you follow him on X and ask him questions just like I do and everybody else does at Ken Ingalls. What about extensions? Guys that you're like, okay, yeah, those are the guys that aren't going to be here. Are there guys that you look at right now and go, hey, maybe the Packers extend these guys and give them some salary cap relief here for next year?
Well, when it comes to relief and, legitimately, wanting guys that you're going to extend, there's not a long list of guys who you can throw more money at and they'll effectively become cheaper. The only real one that sticks out is Devontae Wyatt. Remember, he's playing on the 5th-year option right now. It's just under $13 million. It's fully guaranteed, and it's just 1 year. So it's in their best interest to come to him with a full-on extension. They can't really do any restructuring outside of like adding these fake void years that we've heard about in the past. But again, he's in a perfectly leveraged situation. He's fully guaranteed. He doesn't have to agree to anything. He's going to be like, why would I give you fake years when you can give me some real years, right?
Right.
So he's going to want a big boy contract. I think they can come at him and give him, a 3-4 year extension or total contract and bring that number down maybe in half or like 2/3 of what it's at right now. Create some savings, lock up a young guy who they clearly have plans for. And you saw once he went down, this team really had no answer on the interior trying to get a consistent rush. That's a guy that they need. Now, there's a bunch of other guys that they can look to extend, but they're going to need to free up cap space in order to like fit those, like a Tucker Kraft, right? Tucker Kraft's going to make $1 billion. And so extending him, that doesn't get cheaper along the way. They need to find more money in, the couch cushions in order to be, able to afford, a Tucker Kraft. type of extension. Some of those
Okay,
other
well,
players.
fine. Well, you're the salary cap guy, man. That's why I got you on. Where's the money in the couch cushions? Find me the money in the couch cushions.
Well, the problem is they don't just need a few nickels and dimes. They need to find some hundreds in there.
You
they
need
to find,
paper. You need paper.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
need pocket change.
Right. Like right now, like if you were to look right now, how I have it broken down of like what their situation looks like today on paper, like thinking about everything they need to do from right now, middle of January, until the season kicks off in September, all in, all the things, all the draft, all the practice squad, they're $33 million in the hole. They need to find some paper, right? The things we talked about, you nailed them. Rashawn Gary, Elton Jenkins, they're in my mind, they're as good as gone. You know, maybe there's some like Hail Mary situation, but for the most part, you just have to expect that they're going to be gone. Trevin Diggs, remember, you know, the last week of the season, we put in the waiver claim, brought him on. He costs $15 million next year. And
no chance.
Yeah. Simply put, there's zero chance he's playing on that contract. He's either going to be cut outright or he's going to come back on a massive, massive pay cut. You do those three things with those three guys, you're now from negative 33 to like, depending on what you do with Diggs, you're either like plus 5 to plus 10 million. Like, that's not a ton of money. Again, you know, you do White, you get maybe a handful, you know, maybe you add another 5 to that. Like, there are a bunch of guys who you could go through and do restructures and do extensions. I believe the number is like they can, if they were to go to every single player outside the three guys I named, right? Because they're going to be gone more than likely, and you get every single, you know, drop of money out of them by restructuring, I think they can gain another like $60 million. I don't think they're going to do that. That is an all-in nuclear type of thing. They're going to have to pick and choose. And there's lots of guys that they can go and like, okay, you've got a $9 million roster bonus. We'll call it a signing bonus. Boom, we've created $7 million. The problem is, though, a lot of these really high-priced veterans are all likely not going to be around in 2 years. And then you run the case of, you know, you push out all this money for guys who aren't going to be here. And you see the pain of this year. You know, we watched it after 2021, 2022 seasons where veterans are walking out the door and they're leaving behind massive piles of money at dead cap. Next year, Kenny Clark, he didn't play a snap for the Packers this year. Next year, he counts $17 million on the Packers salary cap.
What?
Even though because of he got a signing bonus in 2024.
Right.
When they signed his extension. He did a restructure in 23 and he did a restructure in 22. So you have 3 years of perpetual can kicking on this one guy. And then
that's not even here.
That's not even here. And then, you know, he's part of the Parsons trade. So starting next year, like again, before any player is paid, you have to subtract $17 million off the cap for Kenny Clark, who's no longer here.
Oh, goodness.
So when we talk about these restructures and can kicking, you need to be methodical. You need to be, you know, like, who's going to be here so that in, you know, a year or two, if we have to say goodbye, we're not left holding the bag.
Right.
The one that like makes sense of all these high priced guys is probably Zach Tom. It's not that much. I think they can, you know, free up like $3 million if I were to look it up again. But now he's kind of a question mark with that injury that he has. Like, I don't know how much, you know, your audience is talking about that, but that particular knee injury is one that is like, you talk to any offensive lineman, they're like, oof, that's going to be a tough one. He might never be the same.
That's great. More positive news from Ken Ingalls today. You're killing me. You're absolutely killing me. You might never be the same. I mean, that's a gigantic statement, Ken Ingalls.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be the medical expert, but the things you're reading, that particular type of tendon that he hit, like they say, it's like a 50% kind of recovery. Like, are you going to be able to play back at that same level? You know, that's just, me just being curious. So when that came out, I was like, woof, that's not just, oh shoot, we'll have some surgery.
Well, I mean, if that's
camp.
Well, then fine. I mean, if it affects lateral quickness or whatever, maybe you move him inside a guard and you draft a tackle, and
maybe that's your center. Honestly, maybe that's
he's your
center.
center. Yeah,
that's the really interesting scenario. It's like, okay,
it's an expensive center though.
Sure is.
Yeah, that's an expensive center. Ken, thanks so much for coming on. I look forward to talking to you as we go through this offseason. Follow him on X at Ken Ingalls. And, of course, check out his piece that he did for Bill Huber over there on SI. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sparky.
You betcha. Take care. There he is, Ken Ingalls, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. Coming up, we are going to get to Charlie's Sounds of the Day, and I am very, very intrigued by what it's going to be today. Can you give me a little tease as far as what sports they are coming from today?
We have some NFL today for Charlie's Sounds of the Day. We also have some college football and maybe a little college basketball if we have time.
Ooh, so college sports today.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little college heavy.
Yeah, no, I'm good with that if that's the way we're going to go. Let me tell you what is going on coming up on Friday, or on February 8th, I should say. It's the biggest football game of the year that Sunday. Where are you watching the game? If you want an unforgettable experience, head to Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. Watch a big game at 1100 Bar and Lounge, Rock and Brews Restaurant, or the Small Bar. Get a ticket to the Yingling Tailgate Party in the annex next to Potawatomi Sportsbook. Food and drink specials, including $20 Yingling pitchers and $10 off the 100-ounce beer tube. Reserve premium seating inside Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tickets and reservations are available starting now online at Potawatomi.com. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Sparky here, Charlie use it over there, other side of the glass. Habish, and Rotier, y'all. That's where you should be going if you are in that time of need. I mean, think about it today, for instance, at least here in southeastern Wisconsin. I'm not sure about Wausau or Duluth Superior, but I'm guessing y'all have ice issues up by you throughout the course of the wintertime, right? I mean, this morning, there were people sliding all over the freaking place, black ice in places and so forth. All of a sudden, you're in a wreck, and you're like, man, now what's going on? What's going to happen? Or whatever, right? And you get freaked out, and you don't know what to do. Simple. Habish, and Rotier. Why Habish, and Rotier? Oh, I've been around for almost 100 years, right? They have a nationwide reputation at this point, but they've been right here in our community for the entire time. And they're statewide, 13 different locations around the state of Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Green Bay, Madison, Appleton, Kenosha, Lake Geneva, Racine, Rhinelander, Sheboygan, Stevens Point, Waukesha, Wausau, and West Bend. My God, they're everywhere, right? Right there. And yeah, they've had large settlements in the past, really, really big settlements that are like the biggest in state history and so forth. But when you come to them, you become their most important client because it's the most important thing to you, which means it's the most important thing to them. Check them out today. Check out Habish.com. Again, Habish.com or call them 800-2HABISH, 800-2HABISH. Habish, and Rotier, national reputation, hometown service.
1, 2, 3. What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie Usen, where are we going first? It brought to you by Prize Mix.
All right, first up, we're going to head over to the Pack-A-Day podcast where Mike Daniels, former Green Bay Packer defensive tackle, was discussing the Packers needing to hate other teams more, but why it's a bigger problem than just Matt LaFleur's.
I think it's not a LaFleur thing. There's a hatred that in Green Bay we don't have. Anthony Barr dropped on Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
They were celebrating like the king is dead. These guys hate us. And when I would say we lost to the Lions, and I remember saying, I don't care if I got to punch somebody in the face. And they say, yo, tell this guy to shut up. But every time I turn around, one of our guys is getting knocked out the game.
Yeah.
And we're not delivering the same love back. You get what I'm saying? To the opponents. And when we have the guys that can do it, it's like, yo, chill out. Yo, man, yo, relax, man. Yo, chill out. You're doing too much. I've watched guys in college be killers. Played against some of them. They were not that same guy after playing in Green Bay for a couple years.
Like I've said before, Packer people, the Packer way, it's been a thing since Ted Thompson, that is. That's kind of the guys I go at. Now, we talked about it the other day where you kind of need that guy that's borderline little on edge, crazy, right? Don't know what he's going to do when you get him mad type deal. Mike Daniels was one of those guys, right? And as he told you, not really looked upon favorably. And that's why when you start talking about coaching staff changes and so forth, and if you're going to move on from Hafley, I think you've got to find a defensive coordinator that is going to bring that edge, that kind of craziness back to that room. I got a name for you. Came up in the hallways here today.
Who's that?
Go get Rex Ryan. Rex, you coach defense. Matt's going to coach offense. I don't care if you ever talk during the game. Don't care. You go coach defense. Let Rex do some pregame talks before the games and so forth. He's kind of crazy. Bring Rex Ryan in. Let him go coach defense and see what happens.
Yeah, but how many young NFL players do you think really respect Rex Ryan the same way that he was respected 10, 15 years ago?
I'm telling you right now, man. Once a leader, always a leader. I don't give a damn how old the people are, how young the people are.
I know, but
I don't care if you had a group of 50-year-olds that Dan Campbell was talking about or talking to, they don't want to run through a wall. If you gave them a bunch of 12 or 13-year-olds, said, talk, go, they're all going to want to run through a wall for Dan Campbell too. Once a leader, always a leader. I don't think that's something that just disappears and goes away based on the demographic you're talking to.
No, but Dan Campbell, I think before he got to the Lions, didn't really have, again, like kind of a negative connotation to his name. Rex Ryan, a lot of people my age, a lot of the players that are in the league right now, think of Rex Ryan as more of a poor head coach, not doing a good job when he was at the end of his tenure there with New York. And then now on TV, blasting his mouth all over the place, saying just blatantly wrong things consistently. I think it's harder to get those guys to then buy back into what you're saying, even if you are good at what you do. I still think it's a lot easier to buy into a Dan Campbell because there wasn't anything before that. He was a clean slate. These guys were ready to buy into that. With Rex Ryan, you got to get yourself back to that clean slate kind of spot. And right now, he's just not there with the guys that are in the league right now.
All right, let's go to the next cut.
All right, next up here, we're going to head over to Sports Center, where Oregon quarterback Dante Moore made his decision on that show there, whether to stay at Oregon or go to the NFL, where he was projected to be the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah, of course, first things first, I have to give glory to God for, of course, letting me be on this platform I am, the blessings he's given me. Yeah, this past year was a year that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Just my teammates, the adversity we went through, and just the way to be able to, as a kid, to play in the semifinals. And, of course, the year didn't end the way you wanted to end. And, of course, you got to give your kudos and credit to Indiana. But, yeah, with this decision, mainly all my life, it's kind of just been, being as most prepared as I can for any situation I go into. And when it comes to me just making my decision, of course, I want to feel most prepared and, it is best for my situation, especially as a quarterback. And with my decision, it's been very tough. I prayed a lot about it, talked to many people, my mentors and people I just look up to. And with that being said, of course, I'll be coming back to Oregon for one more year and being able to play for the Oregon Ducks and, of course, reach our goal and be national champions.
He got paid. That's why he's coming back. He got paid, man. That's why. That's why he's coming back. Dylan Raiola got paid too, and now he gets to sit there and watch. Somebody find me Dylan Raiola and let me hear what he's got to say about Moore coming back and how he gets to sit and watch and burn a year.
I feel like that's kind of crazy in my mind to think that Dylan Raiola didn't know that Dante Moore would be coming back. I feel like you have to kind of communicate that if you're the Oregon coaching staff, because I feel like they knew by then. He just signed a couple days ago there.
I'm just saying, don't assume anything when it comes to communication from leadership. All right, next.
And last up here, we're going to hear John Blackwell's game winner from last night over Minnesota and Greg Gard discussing the game afterwards.
The 3 on the way. It goes! Tyson!
Come on, Badgers! I bet you he hits the shot.
Now Blackwell for the win!
Good! We did a lot of things wrong and enough right. We fouled there late, stopped the clock with 24 seconds to go. We were lucky to escape because we didn't play as well as we can. That's credit to Minnesota. Nico's done a really good job of getting those guys to compete. They're hard to guard, but proud of our guys. We found a way.
Had to have it coming off that game against Michigan. We talked about it yesterday. Don't go lose a couple games now that you shouldn't lose. They had to have that game. This segment brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether you're starting a new routine or making player picks for the first time, trying something new can be hard, but in life and on Prize Picks, always feels good to be right. With high-pressure playoff matchups every weekend and elite hoops action almost every night, the action never stops. And Prize Picks lets you take control. All we're talking about here is daily fantasy, more or less than 2 or more player stat projections. They have the power play and the flex play. Power play lets you get a big boost for your money, but you got to get them all right. Flex play, you don't get as much, but you can get one wrong and still cash out. That's the way that we normally like to go. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Sparky to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. And again, don't forget, all withdrawals are fast and secure with Prize Picks as they put their users first. All right, coming up in the next hour, we will get to our green and gold update. And we'll also talk about this booing that happened at Fiserv Forum last night and things that we missed on today's show, brought to you by the Milwaukee Admirals. Harris Tour, owner of the Milwaukee Admirals,
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again. Welcome in as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie using over there. Coming up 5 o'clock. Normally, we would have Wisconsin Sports wrap up. Not today. Not again for the foreseeable future on Wednesdays, at least up until baseball season starts. We will have Hot Stove Weekly every Wednesday night starting tonight from 5 until 7 o'clock with the franchise Tim Allen making his return, the homecoming to be completed tonight when he gets on the air, along with Tommy Wirtz, who, of course, you'll hear on the leadoff show this year, Hot Stove Weekly. And then Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz will be there for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show after Brewers games throughout the entire season as well. So lots of Tim and Tommy, and nobody's going to be better Brewers coverage than those two gentlemen. I can guarantee you that. Coming up this hour, part owner of the Milwaukee Brewers, majority owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, Harris Tour, will join us at 4:40 as we talk about the Milwaukee Admirals and what's going on there. I'm going to the game on Friday night with Cub Scouts. I'm sure I've asked you, were you ever in Cub Scouts?
I was in Cub Scouts. I stopped in Cub Scouts. So
how far did you go?
Scouts. I got
did you like to Bear Scout, Weeblo Scout?
Weeblos. I got to that.
So that's where he is now. He's at Weeblos right now. And then he's got to make the decision if he wants to go for it. I don't know if he will or not, but he's got to make the decision at that point. So yeah, it's fun. We go every year, and then they get to do color guard and hold the flag and all of that. We do the Milwaukee Wave games, same type of deal. We do the Brewers game, which is awesome for Cub Scouts because it's the Cub Scout troops from all over the state of Wisconsin. Like, it's awesome. So, like, people listening in Wausau right now, those Cub Scout packs probably come down to Milwaukee for the Brewers game for Cub Scout night, and then they let all the Cub Scouts walk out onto the field before the game, all the way around the warning track, all the way behind home plate, and all the way back up the other way. Then they get patches for the Brewers game and all that. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's cool for them, but if I was a fan that was just there not for Boy Scout night for any of these events, man, there's a lot of... I was a little kid once. I was a little boy once, and being at a Brewers game, I was probably a menace, and having like thousands of me, that's a lot of little menaces, dude.
Well, I have news for you, son, that when you eventually have your children, and you're going to have kids, I can guarantee you that when you have your kids, you then will understand what this is truly all about, and then you'll get a different perspective on how this looks.
I don't have them yet, and I still think that's a lot of little menaces.
Yeah, well, again, that's fine. So yeah, so we'll talk about the Admirals coming up about 4:40 or so. Time now for this.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Earlier today, I was listening to 9 to Noon with John Kuhn and Rami Makloff. Brandon Snide produces that show. He chimes in a bunch. And I heard John Kuhn, they're talking about Matt LaFleur. John Kuhn said, somewhere in the area of $13 to $15 million. That's beautiful, because that's the same number that I said yesterday. So we're both on the same page there. So if Matt LaFleur gets that number at $13 to $15 million, I'm happy. Then you can figure out if you want to extend him 2 years, 3 years, or whatever else. I would have guessed it would be a 2-year extension. They'll give him 3 years. That would match him up with Jordan Love. And then they make a determination of if that's the quarterback, if that's the coach, do we want to keep them together kind of going forward? Having said that, I want to get to this concerning that very, very good quarterback that we have. Zach Cruz, who I use in reference a lot, managing editor and writer for Packers Wire and senior NFL editor, NFL Wires of USA Today. Very good follow at Zach Cruz 2, Zach with a H. Jordan Love has improved in success rate, EPA per play, passer rating, and QBR each year since he's been the starter. He probably has another level he can get to. Keeping Matt gives you the best chance to achieve it. I just hope he's willing to put even more on Jordan Love's plate. My question, Charlie's question. Does Matt LaFleur give Jordan Love the best chance to reach his ceiling? And if so, is that the best reason to keep Matt LaFleur as head coach and give him a contract extension? Nicolay Law, talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Follow on the socials at WI Sports Radio. Stream us live on X and YouTube as well. So look at our YouTube numbers earlier today. Man, y'all are doing a great job. Follow along on YouTube, checking out all the fun shorts and so forth. James Jones interview, sweet as always yesterday. If you miss it, go back, check that out, wisportsradio.com, or you can also go back and watch it on YouTube. Him talking about wanting to come back to be a receivers coach, talking about there were a bunch of former players like Crosby wants to be a special teams coach, and they all came back. It's like, man, who'd be your guy? Who'd be your head coach? What former player would be your head coach? Want to hear what his answer was on that? Go back and check it out in the shorts version right there on YouTube at WI Sports Radio. So does Matt LaFleur give Jordan Love the best chance to reach a ceiling? And if so, is that the best reason to keep Matt LaFleur as head coach? My answer to both is yes. My answer to both is yes. First of all, Jordan Love is the only guy that Matt LaFleur has, well, I shouldn't say that, Malik Willis too, I guess. But Jordan Love is the guy that Matt LaFleur is going to be credited with developing for the rest of his career in football. Giannis will always be attached to John Hammond, right? Aaron Rodgers will always be attached to Mike McCarthy. Brett Favre will always be attached to Mike Holmgren. Rodgers won a Super Bowl. Favre won a Super Bowl. These two have not as of yet. I saw, I don't know, I'd say bickering, but a conversation evolving last night between Jacob Westendorf and Peter Bukowski. And they were talking about this whole idea of how long does it take a coach with a quarterback to really get to the Super Bowl that first time, right? Is it 5 years? And they don't do it after 5 years. There's just not a lot of people that do it after 5 years. I was like, hey, man, why is it that in Green Bay and in Pittsburgh, oh, got to move on from LaFleur. Oh, got to move on from Mike Tomlin. But in Buffalo, with Sean McDermott and a Hall of Fame quarterback in Josh Allen, who have not been to a Super Bowl, I don't hear boo out of any of these dudes on ESPN about Sean McDermott might get booted if they lose in this round of the playoffs. Sean McDermott's job's in jeopardy if they don't get to the Super Bowl. I don't hear squat about any of that. Nothing. I don't see any national articles written about it. Nothing at all. That dude is regarded higher than Jordan Love is, and McDermott's been there 9 years. I'm just saying, like, I feel like sometimes they pick and choose who they want to go after. And I don't know what the deal is with the Packers and why they're aiming over here. The fan base agrees with the national media to a degree. The national media says it's not LaFleur's fault, right? Even though Packer fans are mad, it's not really his fault, other than Bill Simmons. Everybody else, that's really not his fault, but there probably should be changes on the coaching staff or whatever the case may be, right? But the whole conversation of, well, I don't know if they're going to go with Matt LaFleur or not. Like, that was a whole story with a year left on his contract. Part of that was Ed Policy's fault for saying, I don't like lame duck coaches or GMs. Meanwhile, still no word about Brian Gutekunst getting a contract extension. Not a whisper from Adam Schefter or anybody else on, is that going to get done? Are they having contract talks or not? That seemed weird to you. They're talking to the coach before they talk to the GM.
Well, and especially since Brian Gutekunst seemed like the surefire one to get the extension after the Micah Parsons deal. And I think that's part of the reason that Green Bay and Matt LaFleur get talked about more than the Bills. And going into this season, especially after the Micah Parsons trade, Green Bay's roster looked more talented than the Buffalo Bills roster looked. And a lot of people recognized that and said, you know what, the Bills could maybe have a shaky season because they just don't look nearly as good. The veterans that they have on this team are starting to decline. Their drafts haven't been all that great recently either. I think there's a lot more blame put onto the front office of the Buffalo Bills than on the coaching staff. And I think the opposite was true in Green Bay, where people saw them go out and make that Micah Parsons deal, draft Matthew Golden in the first round, because that's what everybody wanted them to do, is draft a wide receiver in the first round, and said, you know what, now it's on Matt LaFleur. The front office did their job. It was just the opposite situation.
In a weird way, Brian Gutekunst screwed Matt LaFleur on the Mike Parsons.
A little bit.
In a weird way.
Put him in the hot seat, yeah.
But the question is, does Matt LaFleur give Jordan Love the best chance to reach his ceiling? And if so, is that the best reason to keep Matt LaFleur as head coach? Nicolay Law talking text line 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Served up by Wendy's, live on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook out to the Nicolay Law Talking text line. Justin in Watertown, you're first up here in the 4 o'clock hour. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Sparky. So I got a couple things. First of all, they don't view the Buffalo Bills the same because the Bills are just a team that loses 4 Super Bowls in a row. They don't have that expectation of
that
Super
was
Bowls every year
Marv.
like the
That
Steelers
was
and
Marv.
Packers.
That was Marv Levy, man. Let that go for
Doesn't
God's
matter.
sakes, man. Come on.
We're talking about national media. They only care about the big stories. They don't care about Buffalo's just that fun team that's like, oh, it's Buffalo. They'll lose. Right? So that's why the pressure's not there. I think LaFleur has the capabilities to be the guy to make Love that next best player. Problem is, you saw Banker's breakdown, right? About the run, 3rd and long, throw it, Love makes a dime, does it again, makes a dime. I think LaFleur has to give him the offense. We've talked about this before, right? Love needs to be the guy, and LaFleur has to let him be the guy. I think LaFleur hamstrings him because he wants to be the guy and not let Love be the guy.
I don't think it's hamstring.
Let your
I think
quarterback
it's
be the quarterback.
This is the thing, Justin. I don't know Matt LaFleur personally. I don't go out and have drinks with him or whatever. But I think he looks at this and says he does not want an offense reliant on quarterback play. He wants an offense that's reliant on pushing the other team, running the football, and then letting Jordan Love take his shots off of play action. I don't think if you went to Matt LaFleur and said, hey, draw up your perfect offense, I'm going to give you Josh Allen or I'm going to give you Patrick Mahomes. I still don't think he draws up an offense where they're 4 wide, running out of shotgun and throwing the ball all over the field. I still don't think he does it. I still think he runs the same type of offense.
But then I would ask the question, what's best for the offense you currently have?
Now
you don't have an offensive line that can block for a running game.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So LaFleur then needs to adjust to what he has. And he's not doing that. Last year, it worked better because we could actually run.
Well, remember, they changed this.
Was healthy, we could make blocks.
But Justin, they changed the offensive line to do that better. They wanted to go Philly style and get bigger. So they get gigantic Aaron Banks. They draft gigantic Anthony Belton. That was their way of trying to get even better with 2 big road graders to put on that line to push the football down the field. And then Banks can't stay healthy for the first half of the season in training camp. They dragged their feet forever, hoping Jordan Morgan would work out before they put Belton in there at right guard. So, and again, I asked Mike Wall earlier this week about, do you continue to invest on heavier, bigger offensive linemen like they do in Philly? And Mike Wall said, absolutely. You continue to go the way you're going and get as big of an offensive line as you can. So I think we'll see, but I think they're going to continue going that way.
And I'm fine with that, but LaFleur's job is to see what's working and what's not.
Agreed.
It didn't take very long into the season to realize the running game isn't working. We need to adjust, right? And so can he do it? I believe he can, but he has to get out of his own way, stop being so stubborn, and do what the offense is allowing you to do.
Agreed. I'm with you.
This year, it required Love to be the guy, and he never let him do it.
All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Nicolay Law Talking text line. I don't think LaFleur gives Love the best chance to bloom. It seems like he has limited options to audible and RPO, more like he's just running Matt's system. He's absolutely just running Matt's system. Yes. Now, does he give him? Does this be? Let me put it this way: when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback and Matt LaFleur came in and Matt LaFleur tried to run what he wanted and Aaron Rodgers was running Mike McCarthy plays and Matt LaFleur's like, what the heck is going on out there, dude? Oh, that's something me and Mike used to run. We just told everybody where to go in the huddle and we just ran it. Okay, well, that's infuriating if you're a head coach, right? When running the other coach's stuff. So then on that first offseason, they come to an understanding. All right, man, look, I'm not going to run my offense. I'm not going to run McCarthy's offense. Let's figure out something that combines both of what we want to do and run that. With the idea, you will have full autonomy to audible at the line of scrimmage whenever the heck you want if you think you can put us into something better. And that's what they did. And it worked. The difference is Aaron Rodgers was a Hall of Fame quarterback when Matt LaFleur got there. He had the MVPs, right? He had an MVP at that point. He won a couple more with LaFleur, but he had the MVP. He had a Super Bowl ring. It was established and done. Let's rewind a little bit further. When Mike McCarthy got to Green Bay and he gets Brett Favre, and Brett at that point was way out of the barn, right? He was just prancing all over, doing what he wanted. I don't want to come to training camp practices on Wednesday. I'm not going to come on Wednesdays. I'm going to go do something else. I mean, he got to do whatever he wanted with Mike Sherman. So now here comes Mike McCarthy. And McCarthy is like, hey, man, you want to have all this say in the offense and everything else? You be here with me at 5 a.m. every morning, and you can come here and do this. And oh, by the way, here's the laptop. Start studying for next week's game after the game on Sunday, and then we're going to go over what you watch on Monday morning. And he made him do everything he wanted him to do. He just kind of put his foot on his neck and said, you're going to do it my way if you want to have say. And it worked. And Favre had an unbelievably great year with Mike McCarthy that year, right? But again, that was a Hall of Famer. But McCarthy had the ego and all of that to step on Brett and show him, if you listen, I promise you this will work. Trust me. Those are two guys coming in at the end. LaFleur is trying to get this to go his way. McCarthy had this with Rodgers, and he grew. And what happened? After a little while, Rodgers' ego started to grow. Got bigger and bigger and bigger, and McCarthy lost control. And Rodgers took off and ran with what he wanted to do, and eventually Mike got let go because Rodgers was bigger than the program. But at some point, as a coach and a quarterback, you do have to let the quarterback get more say and have more free will at the end of the day. But in order to get to that point, I think the coach has to trust that the quarterback is capable of having all that additional responsibility. And only Matt LaFleur knows the answer to that if next year becomes that time.
Well, and the quarterback has to trust himself to have that capability to work outside of the system too. I think what we saw early on in Jordan Love's start tenure, you saw Matt LaFleur actually give him a little bit more freedom. It was just kind of, we're going to run the ball and the pass plays are going to be a little bit more towards you. And Jordan Love made a lot of kind of poor decisions in that first year, despite it being a high statistical season. There were some moments where it was, okay, we need to draw it back and have it be Matt LaFleur's offense. And then last year you saw him maybe take too much control. I think this year you did see a really good balance between Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. I think to continue that moving forward here isn't unbelievable at this point for the Green Bay Packers. I just also get worried a little bit because Jordan Love has only ever had this one coach. I don't know if I can defiantly say that Matt LaFleur is the best or not the best for him because we haven't seen him with anybody else in his NFL career.
But the one thing we do know is, as I just read, was he's gotten better every year. He's a top 10 quarterback based on numbers and stats and everything else. And that first year is unfair to everybody involved because the first half of that year, he couldn't audible or change anything. If they were all in the box, he still had to hand it off. He could do nothing. And that first half of that year, up until that Steelers game, everybody was running the wrong routes. They were in the same spot. It was a disaster. Then after that Steelers game, we were all like, okay, I think maybe they found it out. And LaFleur opened the playbook and poof, off they went. So the first year, don't kind of really know that. And again, like you pointed out, the first year, nobody knew what they were doing. The second half of the first year, he opened it up. Then he comes back for the first part of the second year. He gets hurt immediately and is gone at the beginning of the season. Then plays hurt for the second half of last year throughout the year. Gets super conservative because he throws a pick in like 7 straight games and becomes ultra conservative. Now we come back this year, and I think this is the first year where you got to see Jordan Love be the same and this offense be the same for the first time in the last 3 years. This year was the first time we got to see it. But you didn't get to see it all fully loaded for an entire season. Reed was out. Christian Watson was out. Tucker Kraft was out. Jacobs was hurt and beat up. So you still don't know what this thing looks like for a full year with everybody healthy because they still haven't gotten to that point. Andy in Grafton, you're next on the Nicolay Law Talking Text Line with me, Steve Sparky Fiver. What's up, Andy?
Man, how to anybody out there who thinks Matt LaFleur is the future head coach of the Green Bay Packers, how could you look at the last 7 years and say, I want more of that? Give me more of that. And
Andy, I just read to you how he's improved every year in all those statistical categories under Matt LaFleur. Jordan Love. Do you want me to read it? Did you miss it? Hold on a second. Hold on.
That's the only coach he played for. So, do I expect that the progression of someone's career, the longer that they start in the NFL, that they're gonna play better? Yes, of course. The more time anybody plays, hopefully, if they're as good as we think they are at any position, they're gonna play better naturally, not because of coach.
Andy, what happens? Okay, fair enough. Andy, what happens if you switch coaches, new coordinator comes in, Jordan Love's not the same quarterback anymore? Then what?
Sparky.
Then it's too late, right? Then you're screwed. No, because then Jordan Love leaves as a free agent, and now you've got to start over because of a coaching move.
Sparky, we need to assess that we even have a problem. And Matt LaFleur, for whatever reason, doesn't want to assess himself because he wants to be a running football team.
Yep.
But since he has got here, we have struggled on 3rd and short and 4th and short since he has got here. This is not a new problem. So Matt LaFleur needs to look at himself and say there's a problem there before we even look for answers. As to your question about, well, what happens if we bring in somebody else? Then I address that if that were to happen. But I'm not going to look at this and say, Matt LaFleur is not the answer, but I don't know if I could get anybody better. Well, you don't look for answers until you acknowledge the fact that you even have a problem to begin with.
That's true.
And Sparky, let me say this. The Green Bay Packers had a better roster than almost every team they played this year, with the exception of the Baltimore Ravens, who kicked their butt. Every other game that we played this year, Sparky, we should have won.
Agreed.
We gave those games away.
Yep.
And Matt LaFleur, when our offense struggled against the Browns, the Panthers, the Cardinals, go down the list. The Bears in the second half, the Bears, the third game in the second half, Matt LaFleur is unwilling to change his approach. So why would I give him the benefit of the doubt and say, I think moving forward, Matt LaFleur is going to make the changes necessary to be a better football team. Matt LaFleur is one big ball of panic, which is why his clock management is terrible. His ability to challenge plays is terrible. His play calling when they have the lead is terrible. So why would I look at any of those things and say, I'm comfortable with this guy moving forward?
I don't think it's that hard to understand. Thanks for the call, Andy. I appreciate it. I let him vent, let him all that off his chest, and so forth. Listen, if Ed Policy looks at this, tells Ian Rappaport, I want him to be a coach here for a long time. That clearly means he thinks he is a leader, and that clubhouse or that locker room loves him. And clearly they do, based on Tucker Kraft talking and Micah Parsons talking and all these other dudes that are supporting him. So he hasn't lost the locker room. Do I agree they need to learn how to finish? Yep. Now, how much of that is on Matt LaFleur? Absolutely some of it, especially the offensive play calling and what they do. But it's funny because we've heard this in the past about, well, you get too conservative. You don't put your foot on the gas. We heard that same thing against the Bears, right? And then Dan Orlovsky went over the film and said they got too aggressive and he should have pulled back and not been as aggressive as he was in his play calling, which counteracts every single armchair quarterback watching at home that thought they knew what they were talking about. When I listen and watch all of these different people talking about his play calling, his play design, and stuff that they do, including Tom Brady when he's doing games and be like, oh, this is a really well-designed play by Matt. Yes, you're right. He hasn't gone to a Super Bowl in 7 years. Yes, you're right. They haven't had success with Jordan Love and the youngest roster in the league for the last 3 years in the playoffs. I agree with you there. And as I said before, if they would have moved on from him, you can go over the laundry list of reasons of why they should have, and it's hard to argue any of them. But I also understand why you would keep him. Because if you do believe that he is the guy for Jordan Love in this offense to eventually get this thing to where you want to go, then you don't want to bail too early. And you just have to trust that they know what they're doing. Ed Policy's been around this game his whole career, right? His dad was in San Francisco, the Niners, all that. He's been in the Packers system for years as well. He was there since they hired Matt LaFleur. He's watched Matt LaFleur go from year one as coach to where he is now as coach. This roster is nowhere close to what the roster was in year one that he had with a bunch of veterans to now that he has with all these young cats trying to figure out how to win, trying to figure out how to get it over the hump. And now he is challenged with getting them over the hump. Can he do it? I don't know. But if Ed Policy says, hey, man, I think he can, let's roll. Let's see what happens. Ed Policy doesn't have a track record to say, man, he has screwed this up before having too much faith in the coach, and it's going to happen again. We don't know. He's never been in this position to make a choice. We have no idea. When Matt LaFleur got hired, everybody said, who the hell is Matt LaFleur? Oh, offensive coordinator in Tennessee. Oh, look, bottom third offense. What are we doing hiring a guy that can't even coach the offense with Derrick Henry in Tennessee? Everybody was critical of the hire. Then all of a sudden, Rodgers gets a couple MVPs, and you feel better. And then you blow multiple playoff opportunities, similar to John Harbaugh, who is the most sought-after guy right now on the free agent market. Similar to Mike Tomlin, who was in his job for 19 years. CB, north side of Milwaukee. You're next to Nicolay Law Talking Text Line. What's up, CB?
What's going on, man? Everybody want to throw Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur under the bus, but it's all about personnel too, though. And ain't nobody really not trying to throw Goody up under the bus on certain things too. Matt LaFleur only can do what he can with the people that Goody brings in and want him to try to create and make a better football player out of him. So he got to start taking some of the blame too, and not just Matt. I think Matt doing a pretty good, decent job. Some things he needs to get a little better at, but at the end of the day, it's just like Willis. I guarantee you, if he go anywhere else, he ain't going to be the same player.
That's right.
Because Matt did what he did to get that guy to the next level.
Yep.
So all these clowns out here crying about they want LaFleur gone, they going to be wishing that he stayed.
The Malik Willis thing, I think, is awesome. Thanks for the call. Matt's in a no-lose situation there. Malik Willis goes somewhere and goes off, and you're like, that was all Matt LaFleur, right? Fixed his feet, did this, did that. If he goes somewhere else and sucks, and you're like, see, Matt LaFleur knew how the offense to run for him, and that's why he's not successful. LaFleur's going to come out smelling like roses on this Malik Willis thing. Whether he's good or whether he's bad, it all works. Our guy JB in the 920. Look at Matt LaFleur's challenge rate. It's really not that bad. Prisoner of the moment Packer fan, a.k.a. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, hate the Packers crowd. This radio sucks. I don't need to be some idiot's therapist and listen to crap like that last call. JB in the 920. He was not talking about UCB. Can I just say something to JB? Because JB gets mad at me too. It's okay. JB, listen, buddy. Sports Talk Radio, and I don't know the Sports Talk Radio you've listened to prior to this. That is what Sports Talk Radio is, man. That is exactly what this is. It's therapy for all of us idiots, as you called us, to vent and let stuff out and give our opinions because girlfriends, wives, whatever, don't want to listen to us. They don't care what we think about the Packers or whatever, but what everybody else thinks. So you get into this little club called Sports Talk Radio, and you can vent, and you can argue with others and have a fun time. And then when you get home, you feel better. You can play with your kids because you've got all that off your chest. That's all bottled up. Now your kids, maybe you're yelling at for no reason because of the Packers, and now your wife you're in trouble with your wife because you're acting like a jerk. That's what this is. That's what Sports Talk Radio is supposed to be. At least that's what Sports Talk Radio has been for my whole life, right? Growing up where I grew up. That's what this is supposed to be, and that's why we're here. So I have absolutely no problem with it. Coming up on the other side, we continue on. Got to quickly address this whole Giannis and fans booing at each other last night at Fiserv. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live on Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Wendy's really outdid themselves with these new biggie deals. At $4, $6, and $8, the new biggie deals are bigger and bigger than ever. If you're feeling something snacky, you can get the $4 Biggie Bites. If you want something medium, get yourself a $6 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. If you want to go full Biggie, you can get the $8 Biggie Bundle with your choice of 2 sandwiches, a small soft drink, and a Junior Fry. The choice is yours for a pretty biggie deal. It's got to be Wendy's.
Wesley, things are already looking up. You know, I don't know why. McDaniels had his first miss.
There it is.
Of the game. 6 of 7. Count the bucket. A tough 2 to get. Giannis with a message to the 5-star fans who are displeased with this team's efforts in the first time. It's Randall's third person.
All right, so there's Lisa Byington, Wesley Matthews on the call, FanDuel Sports Network. I will say this. This whole Giannis thing and the people booing the Bucks, as I put on X last night, they deserve to be booed. They were embarrassing and god-awful. And then Doc afterwards, dead legs. Then Giannis disputed that. Then Giannis was asked about the booing and him booing back and all that fun stuff.
When I get booed, I boo back. When people don't believe in me, I don't tend to be with them. I tend to be against them. It doesn't matter if I'm at home or away. I've never been a part of something like that before, and I don't think it's fair. Everyone has the opinion to do what they want to do. I'm not going to tell them what to do and how to act when we don't play hard or when we lose games or where we not where we're supposed to be. And I don't think anybody has the right to tell me how I should act on the basketball court after I've been here 13 years. And I'm basically the all-time leader in everything.
His ego has really grown leaps and bounds from where he was. I mean, he talked in the third person the other day after a game about getting Giannis the basketball or whatever at the end of games and so forth. One third person. That was insane. That was like Ricky Henderson stuff. And now this stuff here. He doesn't know how to deal with losing. He just doesn't know. He's acting like a spoiled child that doesn't get their way. And he doesn't know how to act. So he wants to talk back or whatever the case may be because he's never been booed at home before because he's always been the chosen one. Nobody boos the Bucks. Why? Because y'all have won forever. Y'all deserve to be booed, and you have to grow up and figure out how you're going to deal with it. That was childish, with all due respect. You want to boo people that are counting down at you at a free throw line on the road and all that. Do your thing. When your home crowd boos you, I would say it's for damn good reason. As he said, that's the first time that's ever happened. That's pretty good in 13 years. Go ask Knicks players or 76ers players how often they get booed during the course of a season.
Have you not been paying attention to how distraught most Bucks fans are with this team right now, man?
He lives in a bubble.
It's crazy. I know you want to say you focus only on the team and on the court, but it doesn't seem like it. You're booing the fans. You're worrying about what they're booing at you for. I mean, be real, dog. This is a situation where you have said and promised that this is where you want to be and this is what you want to be doing is be a part of this team here. You have to act like it more. It seems like right now, again, he's frustrated with the way things are happening on the court, is treating it like it's not my problem, but it still is partially your problem. Again, when you and Doc Rivers have two very different messages, I blamed Doc Rivers before, but that kind of goes back to you too. If you're not aligning with the head coach and you're the leader of this team, you're part of the rift right now, dude.
Absolutely. No question about it. Let's get a quick phone call in here before we get to Harris Tour, part owner of the Brewers, owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, coming up in the next segment. Kenny in Brookfield, you are next right here on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line, Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up?
Hey, Sparky.
What's going on, buddy?
LaFleur is the biggest disaster we've ever seen in Green Bay.
This is Mr. Negative. Why don't you just call in as Mr. Negative? Why do you keep changing your name for, man? Go ahead.
I didn't change my name. He got the name wrong. But hey, LaFleur, I really don't understand this. I would have been more for LaFleur if they missed the playoffs. He makes the playoff, and he just completely documents what we all know about him. He's a disaster. The train never makes it back to the station. You know, it doesn't just kind of putt in. No, it blows up in 100 pieces. And, you know, the ownership or the executive offices of this franchise.
That policy.
It's terrible. You know, it's just ridiculous. You know, we had Murphy in there. He hung with Teddy Thompson. I don't need no stinking free agents, you know, for way, way beyond when he's just missing everything. And of course, then Teddy hires LaFleur. Well, no, Teddy didn't hire LaFleur.
No, that was Goody. Goody and Mark Murphy. Murphy's the one that hired LaFleur.
Well, yeah, Murphy screwed that up. I mean, Goody had nothing to do with it, but of course, Goody made the big play for Jordan Love, which was the biggest mistake you could ever make. And that's what that's what this franchise is known for. It's huge misses, and there's nothing more inevitable than the disasters that are going to come down the line.
Okay, I got people already complaining about you being too negative. Thanks for the call. Jordan Love's not a disaster. He's top 5, top 10 quarterback based on numbers and everything else. So leaving the train thing, that was a McCarthy thing. The train's already left the station when Brett Favre was gone and wanted to come back. That was a McCarthy reference. If you know that dude that called in, Mr. Negative, you understand that's just who that dude is. Hey, it's Sparky, and the biggest football Sunday of the year is coming up on February 8th. Where are you watching the big game? If you want an unforgettable experience, head to Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. Watch the big game in 1100 Bar and Lounge, Rock and Brews Restaurant, or Small Bar. Get a ticket to the Yingling Tailgate Party in the Annex next to Potawatomi Sportsbook. Food and drink specials including $20 Yingling pictures and $10 off the 100-ounce beer tube. Reserve premium seating inside Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tickets and reservations are available starting now and online at Potawatomi.com. Harris Tur, part owner of the Brewers and owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, will join us straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. How y'all doing? It's a Wednesday, halfway through the work week. This show absolutely flew for me. I don't know about you. I looked up at Charlie. It was 4 o'clock. I was like, my God, it's 4 o'clock. At one point, it was 3:20, and I thought it was 2:20, and I thought I was at the wrong spot where my commercials play. I'm like, oh, my God, did I skip some spots? I was like, nope, it's not 2:20. It's 3:20. Like the first 90 minutes of the show, no idea. Couldn't tell you. I mean, I know we talked about stuff, but if you missed Ken Ingalls, Packers salary cap analyst there on X that you see all the time, you can go back and listen to that or anything else we talked about on the show. First out of the show, we talked about if the Bucs fire Doc Rivers, what happens next? Who's the next head coach? Why are they better then than they were with Doc Rivers? So if you want to get some Bucs therapeutic talk, go back and listen to that. Joining us now for this very fun segment is Harris Tour.
What story did Sparky miss talking about today on Wisconsin Sports Daily? Don't you worry. Sparky's got you covered now. Don't miss Milwaukee Admirals hockey this season. Don't just buy tickets. Invest in memories at MilwaukeeAdmirals.com.
Here he is, owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, part owner of the Milwaukee Brewers. He is Mr. Milwaukee. Harris Tour on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Mr. Tour, how the heck are we today?
I'm great, Sparky. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, we hired a guy here to work on our promotions team, and he said he had some interactions with you at where you like to go golf, and just said all these glowing and positive things. I mean, it probably is something along the lines of everybody loves Harris, right? I mean, do you give those shirts away at the Admirals games?
No, I try not to. They're too valuable. Too
valuable. Absolutely right. Okay, Harris Tour. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Admirals and where we are so far this season. Then we can talk about the cool promotions coming up on Friday night.
Yeah, well, so far, last couple of games, the teams played great. We had 2 big games last Thursday and last night. Last night we won in the overtime, now record-wise, especially in the American Hockey League Grand Rapids Griffins.
Got people a free Frosty. Got people free Frosty at Wendy's, too, because y'all scored 4 or more.
We did multiple things. We got them a free Frosty. Yep. That's huge. Then, because if you were at the game and we won, you got a free ticket to our next weekday game on January 27th. So you won on so many fronts if you were at the game last night.
That's a beautiful thing. Coming up Friday night, is that the Wolves? Is that who y'all are playing Friday night?
The dreaded but not feared Chicago Wolves. That's right.
It's Cub Scout night
so
for us.
It's our emo night, and our staff here came up with the idea of having electronic music night, and it's just gone over huge. So that's going to be a big deal on Friday night, and we sold that out, and so it should be a really fun night here at the Panther Arena.
I'm coming with the Cub Scout pack of kids. I don't think they realized
at the emo night.
I don't think they realized it was emo night. It says featuring local tattoo artists. So do they have like fake tattoos for like the kids that the kids can get too? Can we do that? Is that possible?
I don't know. Maybe all the kids will want real ones, and then when you bring them home, I'll be curious what the parents have to say to you.
Yes, that will not probably work out so well either. No. Also, Landmark Credit Union lunch boxes on Friday night.
Exactly. Another one of our great sponsors, Landmark Credit Union. We're going to be giving away those lunch boxes. I think all the kids will love them, and then be able to show them off on Monday when they go to school.
First 3,000 fans through the doors will receive a free lunchbox. So looking forward to that. And then after that, you have a break until you're home again. Then it's Saturday, January 24th against the Iowa Wild. That's youth jersey giveaway night.
Yeah. So the night before, though, we'll be in Hastings, Minnesota, playing in an outdoor game against the Iowa Wild.
Ooh.
And which will be cool. And if people haven't seen, go to our website and see our outdoor jersey. I think they're spectacular, and it's just a really cool jersey that we put together. And then we're going to wear those on the 24th, and the kids coming to the game that night, courtesy of Children's Wisconsin, they're going to be getting a replica jersey of that. Awesome. That we're going to be wearing. So I think that's going to be spectacular.
Very cool. So next game up Friday, January 16th. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com for more ticket information and the promotion schedule as well. The last time we had you on, you said this payroll was going to be better or higher than last year. I'm going to give you try number 2 at this. Are you still convinced there's going to be a higher payroll than last year?
as we sit here today, I would say the answer is yes. We don't know.
All right.
The off season is still going on,
Yeah.
and what this team will look like come February when the team reports to Arizona remains to be seen. I don't know what Matt may or may not have up his sleeve. I know that he's worried about getting the international signings done here. I think tomorrow's International Signing Day, so that's a big one for our organization. If you look back just a couple of years, you may have seen the name of Jackson Churio, Jesus Made, just to name a couple. So tomorrow you may see some names, and in a mere couple of years you may be starting to hear about them as being top prospects in our organization.
There's a 16-year-old kid, and it looks like Monies. It's probably pronounced Monets or something like that, but I like Monies as a last name, man. That's right. They say he's got big power. He's a shortstop. So hopefully that deal gets done, and we can talk more about that. Harris Tour, thank you so much for coming on. Owner of the Milwaukee Admirals, part owner of the Brewers. I call him Mr. Milwaukee for good reason. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, Sparky.
Take care. There he is, Harris Tour, joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Charlie, he doubled down. He said, yes, I still think we're going to have a higher payroll than we did last year.
All right. I'm going to choose to believe him against Sparky.
He didn't back down and be like, hey, I was wrong. I don't think that's going to be the case. He said, no, I still think we're going to have a higher payroll than last year.
I respect that. So I'm going to give him a second chance. All right.
I'm digging it, man. I'm all about it. Don't question the man. If he says we're spending more money, we're spending more money. Now, we'll see how this whole thing plays out at the end of the day, obviously. And we'll go from there. So thanks to Harris Turf for joining us. Ken Ingalls, our salary cap analyst for the Packers. Coming up next, the franchise, Tim Allen. Oh, buddy, back on these airwaves again with Tommy Wirtz. Best Brewers coverage, I'm telling you right now. Hot Stove Weekly, Wednesday nights from 5 to 7 starting tonight. Lead-off show before Brewers games with Tommy Wirtz. All during the regular season. Post-game show, the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz after regular season games throughout the season. This is going to be where you're going to want to keep it locked in if you're a huge Brewers fan. There will be nowhere better, I promise you. That'll do it for Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Fiver wishing you all a good night.